Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Saturday, April 27th, 2019. Let's review yesterday's games and then get into today's games. The Warriors did close out the Clippers 4-2 on a date with 42 numerology. We saw how the star player of the Clippers, Lou Williams, it was 181 days from his birthday, the 42nd prime. We made the observations about the riddle with Nipsey Hussle, the Clippers and the Warriors, and how the Nipsey Hussle riddle, it had to do with the numbers 42 and 33, so it was a little dicey, but the 42s were there. I saw how many points Kevin Durant had in the first quarter. He was shooting very well, and then it flashed back into my mind that there was the story from March 21st about the shooting of his adopted brother. Remember, 2-1-3, and we talked about how this was an NBA Finals story. From the day of that shooting to the day of Kevin Durant's excellent shooting was a span of 37 days. Shooting equals 37. So does Georgia. This shooting was in Georgia. And remember, 2-1-3, the date of the shooting, the NBA Finals, 2-1-3, Chamblee, Georgia, 2-1-3. Before the season began, we liked the Warriors and Celtics to meet in the finals because of the start date, May 30th, and what that has to do with the riddles of the Celtics snapping the winning streak of the Warriors at 54 games. I said to watch those opening night games October 16th and to look at the score. And if you go back and look, the Warriors won with 108, Oracles 108, Golden State Warriors 108, and the Celtics won with 105 points. So you add it together, 108 plus 105, it's 2-1-3. And we said after the opening night, okay, this riddle for the Warriors and the Celtics is looking even better. And we talked about this story March 21st when it happened, how it looked like an NBA Finals riddle. Cliff Dixon, the man killed equals 57. Also like Chamblee GA, like NBA Finals, like how the Warriors would go on to finish with 57 games. And now we have the death of John Havlicek, whose name I can't say right, but that's how I say it. So also with regards to this whole 37 thing right here, from the shooting to Kevin Durant's excellent shooting to go to the next round, from his birthday, September 29th, 2018, that's Kevin Durant's birthday, or maybe it's to his upcoming birthday. Is that what it is? To his upcoming birthday this year is 157 days from the game with his excellent shooting to his upcoming birthday, 157 days. That's the 37th prime number. And I know somebody got excited in the chat yesterday and thought the Clippers were definitely going to win because of how things lined up with Kevin Durant's birthday. But, you know, I don't know exactly why they thought that meant that the Clippers would win. I saw that. I said, okay. Does connect to Los Angeles, but I don't think that means they definitely win. Like I said, I really didn't like yesterday's game, Warriors-Clippers. I said I wouldn't bet it because there was reason to believe it could go to game 118, but there was also a reason to believe it could be closed out. So I don't like when riddles go both ways. But I am glad to see the Warriors get past the Clippers. I would have been a little bit anxious about that game 7. So anyhow, that was that. In the NHL, the strong riddle came through. The dicier riddle did not. So the Hurricanes had a good riddle to beat the Islanders. Everything was there. The date, numerology for the away win. Hurricanes got their 24th away win of the season on a 24 date. They started the playoffs 5-3. Hurricanes equals 53. Carolina 53. So that all made sense. The Avalanche and Sharks game was more questionable because we had 42 date numerology. We know that San Jose Sharks equals 42, and the Avalanche had a chance to become 4-2 in the playoffs, which they did. And for the majority of this game, the score was 4-2. The Sharks scored at the very end with the open net, but it was 4-2 for a long time in that game as well. The Sharks, what they had going against them was they could have picked up their 116th playoff loss on the 116th day of the year. And we were looking at the Von Miller riddle, who is the star football player, number 58 for the Denver Broncos. Of course, the Colorado Avalanche play in Denver. The story from the day before this game about him catching a shark and getting in some trouble for it. Again, it's another day of shark headlines. Let me see if CNN's changed their front page since I looked at it about an hour ago. Nope. They're just sharks all over the place in the media right now. And again, the Sharks are one of these teams with the 101 connection. So Shark City. I don't think we can doubt the Sharks in this series. I mean, there's just so many Shark stories everywhere. So anyhow, I was hoping the Avalanche would cover there, but I'm not shocked about this game. Like we said, this was the better read. This was the safer read. My man that does one pick a day, he took the Hurricanes. So he's a wise man. Anyway, that was that, NBA and NHL. And then the MLB, we're just doing our litmus test just to see if riddles are hitting, how they're hitting. The one game that I said would shock me did, and I don't know why I said it would shock me. I mean, baseball riddles aren't coming through, but we talked about how this game could go either way. Nationals equals 57. They fell to 5-7 at home. Had the Padres lost, they would have been 7-4. San Diego 74, but San Diego's also 38, and there's that 3-8 in reverse. The Marlins Phillies was another game that could go either way. Florida Marlins equals 59. Phillies are now 9-5, 5-9 in reverse. Marlins alone is also 86. They could have fallen to 8-6. They were 8-5 prior to this game. Florida Marlins is also 85. The Marlins put them there. So the riddles are coming through in some places, but in other ones they're not. The Athletics and the Blue Jays. Blue Jays in Vlad Guerrero Jr.'s debut became 5-8. Oakland equals 58. And Toronto Blue Jays is 59 as well, so it'll be interesting to see what they do in the next game. Will they become 5-9? Toronto Blue Jays 59. They could have become 4-9 as well because Blue Jays is 49, so that could have gone either way, as discussed. Brewers and Mets, we talked about how Brewers equals 45, but with reading things both ways, 4-5, 5-4, could have been either way, but Brewers is 45, so they're there. Again, they came into that series 5-7 away, 57, the big number with the Mets. Had the Braves won, they would have had a chance to become 9-6 today and make Colorado 6-9, Atlanta 69. So that riddle was broken. Score of 8-4, Atlanta on the 84th meridian. So that's not going to happen. Indians and Astros. This is the game I said would surprise me. Indians could have become 7-7 away. Houston equals 77. Astros could have become 9-2. Astros 92. So you could have had a perfect riddle. And really the way it seems, since the riddle stopped hitting, is it seems like if there's a perfect riddle, just bet the other way. That seems like that would have been the winning strategy for the last week plus now. You know, you see a perfect alignment, oh, just bet the other way. It's probably going to happen. Yep, there it is again. So Tigers and White Sox, like we talked about, the overlap number was 37. If the White Sox lost, they would have been 3-7 at home. Chicago 37, Detroit 37. But we did point out Chicago's also 46, Michigan's 46. But still, Detroit and Chicago are what in the team names. Detroit and Chicago both have the overlap with 37. The 4-6 hit. Orioles and Twins. Had the Orioles won, they would have been 8-6 with a chance to get to 9-6. Orioles is 96. That's not going to happen. Now, the Angels riddle, the one pattern that did stand out here did happen. Angels equals 58. Angel, the singular, is 39. Mike Trout signed through the age of 39. So you can make sense of that one. The Reds and the Cardinals, we talked about how it could go either way. I'm watching to see if the Cardinals become 11-5 at home, kind of like 115. St. Louis is 115. It's the year of the 115th World Series. Had the Reds lost yesterday, they would have been 10-15, 1-0, 1-5 on the 115th day of the year in St. Louis, 115. So the pattern's not going to go that way. But Cardinals do have a chance to be 11-5. Cubs and Diamondbacks. We talked about how Phoenix equals 46, Chicago equals 46, Chicago Cubs equals 46, but Chicago Cubs also equals 55. So you had a lot of overlap with 46. You had one riddle at 55, and that's the one that hit. So again, it seems like where the most alignment is, those are the riddles that aren't coming through. And I mean, we've been documenting this for over a week now. Pirates and Dodgers. I said look for the Dodgers to win one and lose one. If they do, they'll be 10-5. Pittsburgh Pirates equals 105. To me, it would have made a bit more sense if they lost last night and won tonight, because Pirates equals 47 and 74. Had the Pirates won, they would have been 7-4. So that didn't happen. Rangers and Mariners. One riddle that we saw that was a potential is if the Rangers won 2 in a row and the Mariners lost 2 in a row, the Mariners would have been 6-9 at home, and the Rangers would have been 4-8 away. Texas equals 48 and 69. There's other riddles that could go here, but it was just a potential pattern we saw. So that's not going to happen. I do believe, though, let me check this real quick. The Mariners' first season might have been 77. Yeah, it was. So there's a riddle there, too. There is a reason that the Mariners are 7-7 at home. So the Mariners' first season, 77. This is their 43rd season, 42 years later. So again, they were 6-7 before that. Their mascot's Moose. Moose equals 67. Their new park name this year for 2019's T-Mobile Park, 67. 67, the 19th prime, Seattle 19. So Mariners have followed quite a few riddles this year. And again, we had them picked to have a very special season a year in advance. 2019, Seattle, the only 19 city. Now, New York Yankees equals 65 and 74. So we said this record could make sense either way. Giants are 5-6 or 6-5 in reverse. But notice had they won last night, both teams would have been 6-5, and New York Yankees is 65 and the most pure cipher. Yankees is also 37. You get a 3-7 ball game. And the Rays Red Sox got postponed, but what we're watching here is if the Rays lose 2 in a row, they'll be 7-4. Tampa Bay Rays 74. If the Red Sox can win 3 in a row, they'll be 8-5 at home. Boston 85, Red Sox 85. So anyway, we're just watching to see if the riddles are getting back on point. And right now, I would say we are not there. I would still stay away from baseball. Or you can just use the Vegas strategy. Just bet against where all the money is in Vegas. It's probably the best strategy right now in baseball. But the Gematria, it's not there yet. It was there for the opening, but then it went away. Okay. Let's do today's playoff games, and let me check our start times here to see if there's one we should do before the others. All right, we got plenty of time for NBA, NHL start times today. All right, this one starts pretty early, so let's do this. Let's do this right here. This is noon Pacific, 3 Eastern time. So we'll start with the hockey. And let me get my notes up here. The Blues got that first win on the 115th day of the year. Remember what was going on in that game? St. Louis 115. They kept the Stars at 47 wins. St. Louis 47. It was the 74th match in the playoffs between the two teams. St. Louis 74 as well. So we thought the Blues would win that game, but we picked the Stars to cover because all the money was in Vegas for the Blues to cover. So we had the right read on that. Let me see. I'm just checking my notes here on my piece of paper. I forgot to put up that post. I'll do it. So the Blues for the season, they now have 50 wins and 30 losses, and they're now at 26 home wins and 17 losses. Current record. And that makes the Stars for the season 47 and 35 overall, and away 21 and 20. So today's date numerology, let me close this out here. Today's date numerology is as follows: 7043. That's the 14th prime number. Blues has that Gematria 14. 25, St. Louis is 25, and the lesser method is 50. With regards to it being the 27th of the month, The Blues could get their 27th home win of the season in this game and keep the Stars at 47 wins overall while in St. Louis. So I'm thinking there is a little bit more rhyme and reason just right there on the surface for the Blues to start 2-0 in this series. Getting that, again, the 27th home win on the 27th of the month. So let's look at what would be the next game, which is, it would be the 29th. So the 29th would have numerology. It would be +2 in all these categories. So it'd be 72, 45, 27, 52. And we'd be looking at the home and away stats for the opposite teams. The Stars would be going for their 27th home win. So that's Dallas, and the next game will fall on a date with 27 numerology. You see what I'm saying? Because this is today's date numerology, so 2 days from now it's going to be +2 in all these categories. So it's going to be right here. You're going to have a 27 date numerology on April 29th, and the Stars will be playing for their 27th home win, which looks good for the Stars in that game. If the Stars could win them both back in Dallas, they would get to 49 home wins on the season. And I know Dallas equals 49. And I think we also saw that Blues equals 49. I'll check that right here. But I know Dallas is 49 with the alphabetic order. That's always a big number with that city. Blues is 49. You know how in football they call Dallas America's team, America 49? But yeah, Blues is also 49 when you flip it around. So I would say Dallas looks really good for game 3 because those are the great kind of reads. When you can get that numerology with the win number, that's always promising. It's just like what the Hurricanes had yesterday. But let's make sure the Blues do have the better riddle today. What else could we consider there? Okay. We'll look at the M cubed, and we'll look at the coach and the goalie. What are these windows? Oh, yeah. Let's make sure I showed all the notes I wanted to show for the Kevin Durant thing. Okay. Yeah, we started with the Kevin Durant riddle, his excellent game yesterday. Okay. NBA teams. Or not NBA, NHL. What am I thinking? NHL teams. St. Louis Blues. Or actually, let's look at the overall series records first. We got a caller. Caller.
Hey, Zach, it's Rob in Vegas. I got a quick bit of information for you to check out. Bill Russell's birthday. It looks like it lines up with the NBA Finals on June 10th. He'll be 85 years and 118 days.
Basketball. 85 years and 118 days?
On June 10th.
Do you know what game number that would be of the finals?
Game 5, making it a 4-1 series.
Huh. Okay. Very.
So, there's something to check out.
All right. Good information.
And one other thing real quick. KD dropped 50 points last night. There was just a story about Ralph Sampson doing a shoe deal with Puma. So
doing a what? Doing a what?
A shoe deal with Puma.
Oh, okay.
Ralph Sampson was number 50 for the Houston Rockets, and the Celtics and Rockets played in 1986, 33 years ago.
Ah, okay. Very interesting.
So, and there's also some information about the NABC Player of the Year. 1981, that was won by Danny Ainge, and then the next year was won by Ralph Sampson, and then the next year after there was Ralph Sampson, and then it went to Jordan. So,
okay,
just some things to take a look at.
All right, appreciate it.
Yep.
Okay, Ralph Sampson shoe deal, April 8th, 2019. That's the birthday of John Havlicek, who just died. Boston Celtics, 48. All right, so I'll check this out later. Good catch. Okay. So, I was looking here at these playoff records. Oh, we got another call. Hold on. Caller.
What up, Zach?
What's up, man?
Hey, I'm seeing it's too many times now. I was waiting to see it, like with the Doc Rivers. Remember when I mentioned in your video yesterday, the Los Angeles, CA equals 211? I'm
Right.
seeing that work more often.
Okay.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking the city, and the abbreviation of the state works a lot, and I've seen it a lot. So I understand, like, I think we need to, take a heed to it and try to look at it a little more. Because I'm thinking sometimes we read out Los Angeles, California, Los Angeles, CA works better than Los Angeles, California in some cases. Just saying, just take a, we just got to keep an eye on it.
Okay.
Yeah, because Doc Rivers obviously got 211, so.
Right. Right. Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah, and then if you go on my Facebook, at the end, before I bet it, I was like, man, I knew the Warriors going to beat the shit out of them, and I knew it. And I was just like, forget it. So I bet on the Warriors with the points, and I won. But I was just like, man, there's no way. Because as you mentioned, the only reason why I bet on it is when you mentioned that Houston was already in Oakland. I'm like, man. And those stories, like before I became Red Pill and like became a true seeker, like I'd be like, man, they're not in Oakland, but they mock people because they thinking they're lying, but they really tell them the truth.
Right. Yeah. All right, man. Well, congrats. Yeah, we'll look at that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, yeah. Are you gonna do those games? You doing those games today, or are you doing the Houston game tomorrow?
I'm just doing the games today. Do the games tomorrow.
Well, you know what? Well, but listen to that. You know, they play at 12 o'clock.
Pacific time.
You know, 12 o'clock Eastern and 11 o'clock my time. I'm in the Midwest, so you might want to do the Houston. I think we should do the Houston Golden State today, man. Honestly. So, well, we got a good head on it, but it's up to you, man. This year.
Well, if it starts at 9 a.m. Pacific, then we can do it. It really starts that time tomorrow?
Yeah, 12:30 Eastern.
Well, it starts at 12:30 Pacific tomorrow, so that's 3:30 Eastern. But the Celtics Bucks game does start at 10 a.m. Pacific. So.
Yeah. So.
All right. Yeah, we can look at those today too. Yeah, we can look at those today too since they start so early. All right.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Yeah. All right, so we'll do those today too. All right, back to the NHL because this game starts in 2.5 hours. Okay, let's see here. So Stars and Blues. Here's what I was about to say. The Dallas Stars, you see how their record's 167 and 166? If they lost, they'd be 167 and 167. And remember, that's the 39th prime number. Let's put it here so you can see it. 167 is the 39th prime. And St. Louis Blues is 39 in the most pure cipher. So that record would make a lot of sense, that playoff record with a loss today. And again, today has that 14-date numerology, Blues 14. Stars. And remember, the Dallas Stars in Game 3 can pick up that 27th home win of the season on a 27-day. So that's looking good too. Oh, Stars and Blues are actually both 14. So both teams have that connection to 14. Today's got 43-date numerology, the 14th prime. Okay. The Stars today would be playing for their 27th home win on the 27th of the month. And I gotta let you know, I mean, when you're playing on the day of the month, so like the 27th of the month, it's never as consistent as the date numerology being 27, but the day of the month can definitely play too. So things are still looking better for the Blues today. St. Louis Blues in the playoffs, 169 and 203. I don't think that goes with anything. Dallas Stars is 171. If they got 2 more playoff wins, they'd be at 171. that could potentially be a clue that maybe Dallas could win this series, kind of like how we saw the Washington Capitals get stopped at 135 playoff wins. And again, Capitals is 135, Capital One Arena is 135 where they play. Was it Carolina Hurricanes 135 as well? Yeah. So that's something we're going to have to think about. 2 more wins is 171 for them. Okay. And let's also check out the head-to-head here. St. Louis Blues series records. Okay. So all time they're 172, 150, and 43. The ties aren't going to matter. So the next win's 173. That's the 40th prime number. I think there should be a post here. We looked at the road ahead for these playoffs. Yeah, there wasn't a date. Let me make sure those are the dates they're playing. I'm just seeing if there's a 40-date numerology in what would be the games. And there isn't, so I don't think that's going to matter. Caller?
Hey, Zach.
Yeah.
What were you saying about the 171 with the Stars? Because I've been seeing, is that their playoff record?
I was just saying that the Blues right now are at 169 playoff wins. The St. Louis Blues have 169 playoff wins. If they win 2 more, they'd be at 171.
Okay. I noticed this interesting overlap with the Dallas Stars playoff record. If they lose the series in 6 games, they would be 169 and 169. The square root of 169 is 13. Dallas equals 13.
That's a really good point too. That is a really good point. Yep.
And then, so yeah, I just wanted to be sure about that because I didn't really understand what you were getting at with the 171 because I kind of missed it.
Okay, but now you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then I'm not sure if you noticed this. I mean, you probably have with that story about the boat sinking, the Columbus boat.
Yeah.
Someone pointed it out to me, and I read the story, and it was actually true. The person that they interviewed has the same last name as the Carolina Hurricanes goaltender.
Huh.
Which is Mrazek, which is not really a common last name either. So that could be hinting at Carolina versus Columbus in the conference finals.
So you think the sinking Columbus ship's a sign that Columbus is going to go further?
Personally, I think so. Because of that Mrazek last name in there.
Okay.
It seems like it points to Hurricanes versus Columbus, if you see what I'm saying.
Sure. No, I do see what you're saying. So are you thinking that Columbus would go down then in the finals if that's what it was?
Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be Hurricanes and Sharks in the Stanley Cup final with Hurricanes versus Columbus in the conference finals and Blues versus Sharks in the conference finals.
Okay. I see what you're saying.
And then there is an interesting overlap with the Sharks sweeping Colorado. The Sharks would be 8-3 in the playoffs this year. San Jose equals 83. Colorado equals 83. And then that would be on game. That's just a really interesting overlap that I've noticed. And then I believe 83 is the 23rd prime, and then sweep.
It's 23. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be. That could be. So.
And the Colorado coach would be 6-9. Colorado Avalanche equals 69.
Yeah, that's a good observation too. Yeah, with the shark headlines everywhere, all these shark attacks could be.
I think it might be the Sharks here. That's what I personally think.
Well, they're the only team that finished with 101 points. It's the 101st Stanley Cup. So.
And it is very interesting because the septenary site for that, I feel like there is some significance in there. And Sharks equals 27 in septenary, it's their 27th season.
Okay, there is some significance to that cipher. You're right. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to let you get back to your decode, and if I notice anything, I'll probably call in again.
Okay, sounds good, man. Keep up the good work.
All right, you too.
See you. Okay, so some good information. But this Stars and Blue series, just where we were. If the Stars do lose today, they're 167 and 167. The 39th prime, and St. Louis Blues is 39. So that definitely stands out. And the St. Louis riddle, it's not quite as interesting. They are at 169 wins right now, which has a square root of 13. Dallas is 13. So I don't think that they're going to get shut out the rest of the playoffs. Something to keep in mind, though, is Dallas does equal 41 as well as 13, 41 the 13th prime if it did end up being a 4-1 series. Right now, the way the numbers are stacking, that would look more in the Blues' favor. But Game 3 does look like it's in the bag for the Stars. Stars got a good riddle for the first game back in Dallas. Okay, so let me figure out where I was. NHL teams, St. Louis Blues, series records. Okay, against the Dallas Stars. So the next win's the 173rd, which is the 40th prime. The next loss is the 151st, which is the 36th prime. And I'm not going to have that date numerology coming up for a second. Okay, so at home, 107, 56, and the wins losses, 108's 108's not a prime number, geometry number. We don't have date numerology that connects to either of those numbers today. Again, it is a 25 date. St. Louis is 25. It's also a 43 date, the 14th prime. Blues and Stars are both 14. Wonder if we'll get a 4-3 score today. Let's see. And in the playoffs right now, 37-37. Perfectly even. So be the 75th playoff game today. And I don't think... Oh, St. Louis also has the 43 connection. That's right. St. Louis Blues. Dallas. Let's take a peek at the coaches. Coach Jim Montgomery. Okay. So he's 4-3 right now. In St. Louis, 43. And all time that makes him 47-35. 47-35. His next loss will be his 36th. And if he did get his 36th loss, no, that's backwards. That's backwards. That's not right. Let's see here. Oh, I know one other thing I need to be thinking about that actually I did not note. Shoot, hold on. Let me go back and verify this. Okay, so game 1 was on the 115th day of the year. 23rd, 22nd. All right. So stars for the playoffs right now. Oh yeah, we could just see that through his playoff record. So they're 4-3. Yeah, so we don't have a 44 or 53 date connection for today. Um, hold on. All right, let's see the Blues coach. All right, so St. Louis is 5-2 so far this season in the playoffs. So today they'd either become 6-2 or 5-3. And the coach is 8-6 all time in the playoffs. If he became 9-6, that's something like 96, which has the strong relationship with 42 and Missouri's 42. They won their first series 4-2. For his career, he's 121 and 83 combined. All right, so there's not a great clue there. All right, let's look at the goalies. Daily face-off, they got both unconfirmed, Ben Bishop and Jordan Binnington. Let's see what the other side's got. Same thing, Ben Bishop, Jordan Binnington, left wing lock, Ben Bishop, Jordan Binnington. So everyone thinks that's what it's going to be. All right, let's see. Here's your playoff stats. There we go. .201 and 112 in the regular season. Playoffs. 25-16. Again, the goalies can be misleading. He comes in with 25 wins. We got 25 date numerology. So if Dallas didn't win today, and we were thinking things look a little bit better for St. Louis, if Dallas didn't win today and Ben Bishop does start, he would stay at 25 wins on the 25 date. He'd pick up his 17th loss against the Blues 59, the 17th prime. Of course, that wouldn't have to come today. There's going to be more opportunities for that in the series. All right, so that's Ben Bishop. So you can measure from his birthday too. November 21st, 2018 to today. It's 156 days, or his 157th day of his age, the 37th prime. Okay, Ben Bishop, and then their guy's name is Binnington. Okay. Let me just add up his oh, I see right here it is already added up. Duh. So his next losses is 113th. Dallas is 113. He'll go back to Dallas on 113 losses. All right, Jordan Binnington. All right, so playoffs 5-2. So okay. Notice he can get his 25th career win today on the 25 date numerology and keep the Dallas goalie at 25 career wins. And St. Louis is 25 as well. So the goalies have a riddle today. And the The other thing that the Blues had going today is they could get their 27th home win on the 27th. So I got to put a check next to the Blues for today, and I definitely like Dallas in Game 3, which again we'll cover when it gets here. It's because they're going for their 27th home win on a 27 date numerology. All right, let's see. So the money's got the 2/3 thing going. If I bet, I'm sure St. Louis is the favorite. Yeah, they're a considerable favorite. So St. Louis isn't going to be a great payout today. So I mean, if you just want to skip the bet and observe, because there's always a risk, but the Blues do have the better narrative. If I bet the Blues today, I'd be sure to take the money line so I didn't get beat on the spread. But I don't really see much of a riddle to believe that the Stars would win today. So it's hard to pick them. And when the money's 2/3, the cover thing doesn't always happen. If 90% of the money was on the Blues, I'd say take the Stars to cover. But when it's 2/3, it seems like they'll pay out often, especially when there's not even that much money bet on the games like these hockey games. But Blues on the money line, so you can't get beat on the spread. That would probably be my advice for the early game. And the Blue Jackets and the Bruins, we said based on this first game, the Blue Jackets did cover. The advice was right for the first game, but we said we were trying to figure out if the riddle was with the team or the coach, and it looks like the riddle's with the Bruins coach. So I'm thinking the Bruins have a good chance to win today too. So the Bruins right now for the season are 54-27. They could stay at 27 losses on the 27th. They would get their 33rd home win today. They'd become 33-11 if they won. And the Blue Jackets, they would get they'd stay at 27 away wins, and they would pick up their 16th away loss. So they'd also get their 33rd loss of the season. There could be a double 33 tribute in the records. Bruins getting the 33rd home win. Blue Jackets getting the 33rd season loss. Massachusetts is 33 where the game's at. So let's go over this again. I'll look at the money afterwards, but let's go back here. NHL teams. Series records. The Boston Bruins, 3-11, 3-18, and 7 right now. 3-11, the 64th prime. And Columbus Blue Jackets, 9-17. So those numbers don't really help us. And all right, Boston Bruins, series records, Columbus Blue Jackets. So they're now at 19 wins against Columbus, 19-12, and at home they're 10-5. Notice if they win, they'll get that prime number relationship. We see the primes hit a lot in records, 11, the 5th prime number. First playoff series ever between these teams. Okay. And looking at the road ahead, I believe these teams are on the same. Let me check to make sure they're on the same playoff path. April 27th, April 30th. Oh, shoot. Hold on. Okay, so this is the one for the Blues and Stars. Again, that game 3 for the Blues and Stars will be a 27-date numerology. Dallas Stars 27. They can get their 27th home win of the season on that day. So that's why we like Dallas in game 3. And with regards to Dallas Stars being 27, again, the Blues can get their 27th home win against the Dallas Stars on the 27th of the month, which also makes a bit of sense. Okay. So, game 3. All right, so that's that path right there. So this, when I map this out, this is for the Bruins and Blue Jackets. Let's make sure I had it all right. May 2nd. Yeah, they play again. May 4th. Okay. Okay. No, April 30th. That's right. Okay, so I just wanted to look again. So April 30th will be a date with 19 numerology. And where is it right here? The one thing that could go against the Bruins today is they could stay on 19 series wins. They could stay on 19 series wins coming into that game 3. So that was one thing. Game 4 will also be a date with 19 numerology. So actually, there's something to consider here. If Columbus won 2 in a row, that would keep them at 19. Okay, hold on. Let me make sure I got all this right. So the Blue Jackets right now are 51 and 32. At home, they're 24 and 17. Well, if the Blue Jackets lost 2 at home too, if they got beat up by the if they got beat up by the Bruins, they could also, if they lost both these games at home, they could get their 19th loss here at home. It's another possibility. If they won both, they'd get their 26th home win on a date with lesser numerology at 26. The Blue Jackets are 24 and 17 at home right now. This is game 5. Game 5. Yes, actually, that's tight. The Blue Jackets are at 51 wins right now. Boston Bruins equals 51. Remember, the Bruins came in with 53 wins. Columbus Blue Jackets 53. Just like in the Blues Stars series, Blues came in with 49 wins. Dallas is 49. Stars came in with 47 wins. St. Louis 47. So every series started on a perfect win total. If the Blue Jackets did get beat by Boston in the series, they would have 35 losses in Boston. No, I take that back. That's the Celtics connection, not that. All right. We're going to have to go back and look at the coaches here, too. This one's actually kind of dicey. Today has the 43-date numerology. Bruins is 43. Okay. All right, let me pull up let's look at this one more time. So 22 would be the magic number to get past Columbus. They need 3 more. Boston is 22. Okay, let's get these coaches here. Bruins coach Bruce Cassidy. Bruce Cassidy. Next one. He's 14-18. So next loss is number 19. And again, we have that we have two 19 dates upcoming in the series. Game 3's on a 19 date, and Game 4's on a 19 date. So if he won today, he would avoid that 19th career loss. Okay. That's what before this series began, we were looking at that. We were saying, is Boston going to have to wait to get their 19th win until the 19-date numerology, or is the Boston coach going to have to wait until get his 19th loss until the 19-date numerology? We were saying it could be one of those two riddles. So that this leans towards the thought that Boston would win today, and we'd have to evaluate Game 3 and 4 because they both fall on 19 dates. Columbus goes down 0-3, they'd be in a lot of trouble. So all right, let me see here. All right, let's look at the Blue Jackets coach. Okay. He's at this is going to be his 106th game. Now Columbus equals 106. Remember, they advanced on the 106th day of the year out of the first round. They swept Tampa Bay. So their next win is their 51st. Boston Bruins is 51. They're stuck at 51 wins right now. Next loss is 56. Let's see. Boston Bruins. It's interesting that it is a 106th playoff game. Columbus 106. Jackets. Remember, Blue Jackets means Patriots, and Columbus Blue Jackets 118, like Patriots is 118. This year he's 4-1 in the playoffs. Remember, they became 4-1 in the playoffs on the 41-date numerology, kind of like how the Avalanche became 4-2 on the 42-date numerology. If they did win this one, they would be 5-1 in the playoffs, and he'd get his 51st win. Boston Bruins is 51. But then the coach for Boston would get his 19th loss prematurely before the 19-date numerology, which falls on the next two games. So, caller?
Yeah, actually, you just said it. I was going to point out that he was going to be 51 wins on the 106th date there. Yeah, I think you said that right.
Yeah, he'd be 5-1 this year in the playoffs and get his 51st playoff win.
Yeah, on that 106. So
right.
Okay, got it. Yeah, that's why I called. Just wanted to see if you mentioned that.
Okay. Yep. All right. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
So that makes things a little bit tricky. Again, the next two games upcoming on 19 dates, both of them, and another way to look at that is, if Boston, where are they at? If Boston did not win today, they would stay at 19 wins in the series all time against the Blue Jackets going into those games. I'm also noticing that they beat 10-6 at home against Columbus. Now, prime numbers hit a lot. Remember, 11's the 5th prime, but in light of the fact that they're playing Columbus, which equals 106, that makes that a little bit iffy. That makes that a little bit iffy right there, because 10-6 against Columbus at home would make some sense. So, and again, it is Columbus's coach's 106th game, where this team advanced on the 106th day of the year from the first round with a sweep over the top team in the NHL. Okay, so we got riddles going both ways. Let's check out the goalies here. Columbus goalie. Oh, no. NHL starting goalies. Let's do it that way. Make sure everyone's in agreement. Now, remember in this first game, if you got here late, we saw that Bishop could stay at 25 playoff wins and Jordan Binnington could get his 25th win. Today has 25 date numerology. St. Louis equals 25. What's up, Izzy?
Hey, how's it going, Zach?
What's going on, man?
Two things came out yesterday. As far as if you Google Columbus and put the news section, Maine becomes the latest state to replace Columbus Day with Indigenous People Day. That came out yesterday. And then another story came out.
The state of Maine?
Yeah.
The state of Maine?
Yes.
Okay.
And another one, Oklahoma diminishes Christopher Columbus. And something about the governor diminishing the day, that day. And also one more thing. Philadelphia 76ers, Toronto Raptors game, 13 straight home games lost by the 76ers in Toronto hometown.
So today could be 14 straight.
Yes.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Today has 40. Today has 43 date numerology as well, the 14th prime. So there's reason to believe in that. Great catch. All right. Thanks, Izzy. All right. So we got Columbus news all over. We got the sinking of the Columbus ship. Remember the ship that sunk was in Corpus Christi, which equals 113, and it was from the 113th day of the year. And the ship was the La Nina, which equals 51. And we were just going, what does that mean? Does that mean that, like, they're going down? They're going down right now? But here, let's check out these goalies. So they're saying Bavratsky and Rask, or Rosk, however you say it, Tukarask. Let's check out what they got here. They believe the same matchup. And what about here? They believe the same matchup too. Okay. Let's see if they got a nice little date alignment here. All right, so this guy in the playoffs, amazing. He's at 25. Oh, no, that's game started. My fault. Reading wrong. He's at 9-15. 9-15. His next loss is a 16th. Columbus Blue Jackets 53, the 16th prime. Next win is 10. At 255 wins. If you got 2 more wins, you'd be at 257, the 55th prime. Boston, Massachusetts. Toronto came up short on that number. Okay, 153 losses. So what I do see, though, is for 2018 and 19, yeah, I don't know if this is regular season. What we need to find out, because look at this, for the 2018-19 playoffs, he has 1 loss and 24 here. I don't know if this includes the regular season or not. Let's see if we can figure this out, because he's either at 24 losses for the season or maybe he's already at 25. So let's see if we can figure this out. Caller?
Hey, Zach. So you were talking about the 2018 to 2019, like wondering if that includes regular season or not. Whenever it says 2018 to 2019, that's just this year's regular season, and then you were going to add one for the playoff to get total. So that's 25.
So he is at 25 losses for the year. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Appreciate that.
And then I noticed this is really hit or miss with the record lining up with the day of the year, but they could become 10 and 17, which is like 117. And then, so they would win today, Columbus would, to be 10 and 17, and then they could lose their next game and become 10 and 18, which is like 118 when we talked about those connections earlier, the 118.
Okay, you must be talking about in the all-time playoff record.
Yeah, all-time playoff record for Columbus.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, 10 and 17. It is the 117th day of the year. I see that.
And then that could set them up to, because then the Bruins coach would be on 19 losses, and then doesn't the next game have like 19 date numerology or something?
Games 3 and 4 both fall on 19 date numerology. Both of them do.
When's game 3?
Game 3 is in 2 days, April 29th. Or hold on, let me make sure. Let me make sure it's April 29th.
I don't think it has 19.
No, it's April 30th. April 30th, excuse me.
April 30th? Okay,
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah, so they would go into that game with 19 losses, and then they would stay on 19 losses to be 10 and 18. And then, so they would enter games 3 and 4 with 19 losses. If they were to lose today and then win the next one, so Boston would take a 2-1 series lead, splitting the first two and then winning game 3.
Sure, I could see that. So,
and it would also match with the day of the year for game 2, and then game 3 would have the 118 connection.
Right. Yeah, the reason you have 19 date numerology in back-to-back games is because the month changes. Because then game 4 is on May 2nd, so it's just the way the math works out.
Oh, and I forgot to mention this earlier because I mean, it's probably not going to happen, but Joe Pavelski, if Sharks are to sweep the series and Joe Pavelski's return, he was the one who got injured at the end of the game.
Oh, with the miraculous comeback?
Yeah, he was the one who took the injury which caused the power play. His birthday is July 17th, so 11/7 if you write it day/month. If they win in 6 games, it would be 117 and 117 in the playoffs. But what I noticed is that game 4, if they could get their 117th win, and if it goes to overtime, the last overtime goal Pavelski scored was May 2nd.
A year ago?
No, not a year ago. It was like a while, I think 11 years ago, actually.
Oh, okay, a long time ago.
So yeah, and he makes his return on the 11th year anniversary of his last playoff overtime goal, and then scores another one. But I mean, that's highly unlikely, though. I just thought it was kind of funny whenever I was looking at it.
Very, very interesting. Yeah, great observations.
Yeah, there was one thing I'm forgetting again, but if I remember it, I'll let you know.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and let you get back to the decode.
All right, thanks, man. Okay, so this goalie here, we did just verify it. He had 24 losses in the regular season, 1 in the playoffs, so he's at 25 losses. If he could win today, he would stay at 25 losses on the 25 date numerology. And we saw with Ben Bishop, he could stay at 25 playoff wins, and Jordan Binnington could get his 25th playoff win. So there's some 25s lining up with the goalies that are going today. This is the only one we haven't checked out yet. So let's see what's going on with him. I spelled his name wrong. Okay. So the Bruins goalie, he's at 32 wins. We saw, okay. Wait, yeah, 32 wins for the season. That's for the season. He's at 16 losses for the season. Let's see here. 5-3 facing the Columbus Blue Jackets. I'm seeing how he could stay at 33 losses. He could get his 33rd win of the season. We talked about this earlier too. It would be the Bruins' 33rd home win, and it would be the Blue Jackets' 33rd loss of the season, in Massachusetts is 33. So if he lost, he'd be 5-4 in this year's playoffs. If he lost, he'd be 40-34. 27. You know, well, I guess, or no, that's for the regular season. It's for the regular season. Okay. The overall. All right. So his numbers a little bit harder to tell. I guess if he stayed at 32, if he did stay at 32, Boston does equal 32. We saw the killing of that 32-year-old basketball player earlier this year in Boston, I believe on March 2nd, 3-2. So this guy, how was it that we saw this? He could stay at 25 losses on the season. That's where the 25 comes in. All right. And one more time, check the coaches. So the Columbus coach is from Boston. Remember that? He's from Boston. He's it's his 106th game, which is so interesting because Columbus is 106. He could get his 51st win in the playoffs and be 5-1 on the season. Boston Bruins 51. That would keep the Bruins at 19 wins versus Columbus. And the next two games are on 19 date numerology. But then the Boston coach, where's he at? Bruce Cassidy. Bruce Cassidy, his next career playoff loss is his 19th. So this is the one thing that just makes me wonder about Boston. Is he not to get his 19th loss until the 19-date numerology? So this game, it's a tight one. You got riddles going both ways. And if he did lose, he would go in on the 19 date with 19 losses again. It's going to be his 33rd game. There's 33s all over the place too, as we saw. So this one's a dicey one here. This one's a dicey one, that's for sure. Let's just check real quick how things line up with their birthdays real quick. Today, 8/20, 2018. 343 days, or 342 days after his 49th week of his age. 11 months and it would be 11 months and 8 days into his age if I counted this band. Columbus Blue Jackets 118. This is the coach of Boston, Bruce Cassidy. Okay. And to his upcoming birthday, 23 days, 9th prime. June 24th for the other coach. 58 days or a span of 59, the 17th prime. 307 days to the 63rd prime. Span of 308. It would be 44 weeks if we counted the span. Let's see how the money's laying in this game. Pre-game. Here we go. Very even. The money's very even today. So that could go either way. Very even there. Still about 2/3 on St. Louis here. Okay, so most interesting narrative for the Blue Jackets is the coach. The coach, it's his 106th playoff game. Columbus is 106. We saw them advance on the 106th day of the year. If he wins in the playoffs, he gets his 51st playoff win all time, meaning he would stay at 55 losses. Boston, Massachusetts is 55. So his record would be 51, Boston Bruins 51, 55 losses, Boston, Massachusetts 55. And he would become 5-1 this year as well, kind of like 51. Boston Bruins 51. For the Bruins, the coach, his next loss is his 19th, and games 3 and 4 are on 19-date numerology. So you could make an argument that he's not going to pick up his 19th loss until game 3 or game 4. And with regards to the goalies, the Blue Jackets goalie, he has 25 losses on the season. We have a 25-date numerology. If he can win today, he can stay at 25 losses on the 25-date. But just as a reminder, when you're already on the number, it's never as strong as a riddle. We saw the Bruins goalie. Here's his stats. 1 loss in the playoff, 24 in the regular season. And this guy right here, again, for his career, he's at 33 playoff losses. And for the season, he's at 32 wins. Boston is 32. Massachusetts is 33. His next win would be his 33rd of the season. It would also be his 28th. Oh, no, I take that back. That's not true. His next win would be his 33rd of the season. If Boston won, remember, Massachusetts is 33. The Bruins would have 33 home wins, and the Blue Jackets would get their 33rd loss of the season. So on the flip side, Boston is 32. So if he stayed at 32 and the Bruins stayed at 32 home wins and the Blue Jackets stayed at 32 losses, I mean, there's rhyme and reason to that as well. Just interesting how all those 33s could come together. And he would again stay at 33 career playoff losses. So yeah, I think this is the dicier of the 2 NHL games today. The Blues seemingly have a pretty quality riddle. Just looking at the goalies too, the Blues goalie can get his 25th career win. Here, I'll just review it all, and then we'll go back here and look at the basketball. But Ben Bishop, he could stay at 25 wins, and Jordan Binnington could get number 25. Let's put it up here real quick. And bishop. Okay. So Ben Bishop's at 25 career playoff wins. And Jordan Bennington, let me just see what he was for the season too. So for the season, he's at 31 wins and 18 losses. His next loss is his 19th. And I think their next game is April 29th. Is that right? So their next game is not on the 19 date. Not on the 19 date. Okay. All right. So that was him. And then Jordan Bennington. Oops. What in the world? I forgot to hit search, I guess. Jordan Bennington. So here he is for his NHL career. Wait a minute. Actually, I think we screwed this up. I don't think he is going for his 25th win tonight. I think he would be going for his 30th. Let me make sure here. All right. I think that was a mistake. Yeah, that was a mistake. All right. Shoot. Well, I'm glad we corrected that. Okay. So we had 24 wins in the regular season, 5 in the playoffs. So we'd actually be going for his 30th career win tonight. And I don't think 6-2 or 5-3 is really going to matter. His 30th win, what I could say about that is Dallas equals 113, the 30th prime. We can measure from these guys' birthdays too. July 11th. Okay. 290 days, or a span of 291. 75 days, or a span of 76. With regards to the span of 76, Blues is 76, the team he plays for. Jordan Bennington. And Bishop. November 21st. $157 days, 37th prime. 9. Okay, so the other things though for the Stars in the Bruins series, let me pull it up here. If the Stars lose today, they'd be 167 and 167. I'll zoom that in bigger for you. Maybe it's hard to see. They'd be 167 and 167 all time. 167 is the 39th prime number. St. Louis Blues equals 39. So there'd be some rhyme and reason to their overall playoff record. And St. Louis, they're at 169 wins, which has a square root of 13. Dallas 13. So not a lot of great clues there. Somebody just sent 10 text messages. Let me just see if there's somebody in the chat. Okay. He's texting about something else. All right. And then in the teams, all right, hold on. The series record, just one more time for this game. There wasn't a big clue in the overall record. In the home record for St. Louis versus Dallas, also not a big clue here. And they're tied up 37-37 right now, so also hard to say. So there's no great clue in terms of the playoff stats. With regards to the immediate season record, if the Blues win tonight, again, they would get their 51st win of the season and stay at 30 losses going back to Dallas for game 3. Dallas is 1-1-3, the 30th prime. The Blues would also get their 27th home win of the season on the 27th of the month. And the Stars would even up their away record at 21-21. Game 3. Again, if you just want to chill on hockey tonight because there's no great date numerology read for today, I mean, I wouldn't blame you. But game 3, the Stars should win back in Dallas because they will get their 27th home win on a 27 date numerology if they do. And another reason to believe the Stars could lose tonight is because they're at 47 wins total for the season, and St. Louis equals 47. So they could stay at 47 wins while in St. Louis. And maybe they'd have a chance to win both back in Dallas, getting to 49 wins on the season because Dallas is 49, so is Blues. So looking at the numbers, I do favor the Blues to win tonight. 2/3 of the money's on them. If I did bet them, they're not a good payout. And it's not the strongest read in the world. So it's not the greatest bet, really. But if I did bet them, I would bet the Blues on the money line. And Blue Jackets and Bruins, it is really dicey. If I bet this game, I'd bet the Blue Jackets to cover because of the riddle with the coach. That riddle with the coach, his 106th game, becoming 5-1 in the playoffs, getting his 51st win where Boston Bruins equals 51. And again, Columbus is 106. We saw Columbus close out the last series on the 106th day of the year. So it seems like there's something to that number. But again, the Bruins coach, if he won tonight, he'd be staying away from that 19th playoff loss until the potential 19-date numerology in game 3 and 4. Caller?
Yo, Zach, forget those NHL picks, dude. Look at the Seattle game. Look at the Texas pitcher. Look at his name. Look at his birthday. Look at what win Seattle's trying to get. Oh man, dude, it looks like a Seattle fest, bro. There's like so many Seattle numbers. It's 107 on the pitcher. He's going for his 53rd win. His name is 53. His birthday is 122 days. Dude.
Okay, so yeah, big numbers we've seen with the Seattle ritual this year. I'll do this Mariners game after we do the playoffs. But the Mariners have been one of the more consistent teams with riddles, so that could be a good call there. We'll definitely look at that. I appreciate the heads up.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
All right, thanks, man.
All right.
So he's calling out those numbers that we've seen with the Seattle riddle so far this year. Of course, baseball's been ice cold, but the Mariners have been one of the better teams with the riddles. All right, so again, NHL, it's not the greatest day of NHL picks. Again, what I would do is I think the Blues have the better riddle to win tonight. I really like the Stars in game 3, but I think the Blues got the better riddle tonight. If I did bet them, they're not a great payout, so that's why, I don't know about that. But I'd take the Blues on the money line, and the Blue Jackets and the Bruins, it's dicey. The coaches' riddles kind of contradict each other. If I did bet this game, I'd take the Blue Jackets to cover. So again, we'll review at the end. I'll put out the review video. But let's flip it over to the NBA playoffs now. And we're going to do tomorrow's games as well because they start early. So we'll do these 2 games today, Saturday games, and we'll look at the Sunday games. And then we'll just scan MLB. We're just going to keep scanning MLB until we can see that things are getting on track. But maybe we do have a good game with the M's today. We had a good game 2 days ago with the M's. So, okay. 76ers, Raptors. So where did I put my notes at? Okay, here we go. The Raptors are 62-25 total on the season. And the 76ers are 55-32 total on the season. What's so interesting about the 76ers record is that they come in with 55 wins. Raptors equals 55. And if they get beaten this series, they'll pick up their 36th loss. Toronto equals 36. You know, just if you use the 4-base ciphers, Toronto's 36 in both reduction ciphers. We know that's always a big number with that city. And notice this series is beginning on the 117th day of the year, Toronto 117. So I'm thinking this is a good sign for Toronto to win this series, that it starts on this day and that things can really line up if the 76ers get eliminated. Okay, so the home and away records, including the playoffs, the Raptors are 34-10 at home on the season. That means their next win is 35. And it means if they won the first 2, they would start out, they'd get their 36th home win. Again, Toronto's 36. The first one would be 35. Raptors is 35. The 76ers for the season away are 22-21. They won both games in Brooklyn. So their next away loss is 22. Their next away win is 23. Unfortunately, none of this goes with today's date. None of this goes with the date. So we don't have any numbers lining up with the date, unfortunately. Well, what I could say is the Raptors could stay at 25 total losses on the season. That's the one thing. The Raptors could stay at 25 total losses on the season. Again, when you're already on a number that goes with the date, maybe rather than saying it's not an indicator at all, I would say it might barely be an indicator. Like it might move your odds. Instead of it being 50-50, maybe it's like a 55% chance you stay there. But it's not a great indicator, that's for sure. So that is the one date numerology piece. We're going to have to look at the M cubed and the coaches. Caller?
Hey, Zach.
Yeah.
Hi. You're doing NBA right now, right?
Yep.
Okay. I just want to give you the stats because I'm probably going to be able to like really stay on your last. I'll probably watch the rest later. But just for the 2 basketball games, they put up a thing saying Kawhi Leonard, since he's been in the league or something. You know, he's a star player of Toronto.
Right.
He's 13-0 or something like that against the 76ers. And we know about that. We know about the
14.
Usually streaks come to end at 14, but and I think today's a 14 day numerology. If I'm not correct.
Well, it's a 43 date numerology, which
43,
is the 14th
43,
prime.
14, yeah.
Right.
So that can happen. I guess, you know, and you know how streaks come to end. Maybe that's a short lot for 76ers to win the next game.
Sure.
You have that for that. And the game 7 for the Nuggets and Spurs, they put up these records right after the game, after the Spurs won game 6. This would be the 133rd game 7 all time in the NBA. San Antonio is 4-6 in game 7s, and the home team is 104-28.
So
game 7.
So this is going to be the 133rd game 7.
Yes.
Colorado equals 133 and 43.
Oh, really?
Yep.
So maybe that's an indication for them. And also, I was looking at, you know, I don't know, maybe this is just, you know, probably thinking too far ahead, but with it being 104-28 for the home team, I know 107 is like the 28th prime number. So it's like, can the home team win the next 3, you know, and get that prime number relationship? So yeah, that was just a thought. But yeah, the home team is 104 and 28 record with game 7s, and they also do out this stat and say like the road team has won the last 2 though. So I'm not sure if you see anything with that.
Okay, I'm going to think more about that, but those are good tips. I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem, man.
All right, thank you. All right, take care. Yep. Notice the over-under on this game's at 223, the Philadelphia number. Philadelphia, 223. Okay. So we had 2 people call in and remind us about this streak of 14 or 13 games, possibly going on 14 here. Caller?
Yo, Zach, did you notice that whichever team out of the Nuggets and the Spurs that plays the Trailblazers, it'll be their 191st game?
The 43rd prime.
Yeah, so it's like if the Spurs play the Trailblazers or the Nuggets, it's either way, it's still going to be the 191st game total.
Blazers is 43 and Colorado's 43. But remember, the Blazers won their series 4-1, and San Antonio equals 41. So we're going to look at that real carefully. Yeah, I was planning to look at the Blazers' records against both teams to see what might line up better. So
I just thought that was odd, like both the same amount. Like, come on.
That is really interesting. Yeah.
All right. I appreciate it.
All right. Appreciate it, man. All right. So the thing is Kawhi Leonard and these losses at Toronto. So at Toronto, 0-2. At Toronto, 0-4. At Toronto, 0-5, 0-6, 0-7, 0-8. 0-9, 0-10, 0-11, 0-12, 0-13, and there it is, the win. So they are on a 13-game losing streak at Toronto dating back to January 9th, 2013. And you know what's awesome about that? 1 + 9 + 20 + 13, 43-date numerology. 43-date numerology, just like today's 43-date numerology. 43 is the 14th prime. That's looking pretty destined there. And that's how it's scripted again and again. My goodness. That was the 67th game, the 19th prime number. Here we are in 2019. Caller?
I think it's a pie ritual for the Raptors game. They're 2-14 all time in playoff game 1s. And the way it ended against the Magic, it was 104 to 101 with 3.4 seconds.
Oh, so they'd be 3-14. They'd be 3-14.
Yeah.
That's funny. Okay, that's a good tip too.
Just want to point that out.
All right, thanks, man. Okay, so the 14 thing can happen here. Now, look, I just want to let you know, streaks almost always go to 14, especially on the 43-date numerology, the 14th prime. But ever since we learned reverse, end is 13. We have seen some end there. You know, they end in the 14th game and the streak stops at 13. It's possible. But in light of the fact that this started on a 43-date numerology and today has 43-date numerology, that 14 is looking pretty good. Raptors are 2-14 in game 1s. So 3-14 would be like 3.14 pi. Notice that Toronto's also a 6.5-point favorite. Philadelphia is 65-223. Remember, after Tom Brady lost in the Super Bowl, his record with wins and losses was 223-65. Philadelphia established on the day, leaving 65 days left in the year. But if the 76ers lose today, no, excuse me. What I'm going to say is not true. Never mind. But things are looking good for the Raptors so far in these riddles. The Raptors would stay at 25 losses on the 25 date. Let me just check a few more things, just like arena names and stuff and coaches and caller.
Hey, Zach, I'm also like in Toronto, but if the Raptors lose today, they will fall to 2-15. 215 is the Philadelphia area code, correct?
That is the Philadelphia area code last time I checked. So that's a good thought too. Mm-hmm.
Just wanted to point that out there.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, Zach.
Yes. Good one. All right. Thanks, man. Yeah. The when Philadelphia won the Super Bowl, Darren Dalton, his death was all about that number, and he was a Philadelphia Philly. He died before the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl. And Darren Dalton wrote a book about sports and numerology. If they only knew. If they only knew. Okay, let's see. Toronto, Ontario. Numerology is 1, 2, 5, reshuffling of those numbers. Toronto, Ontario's got the 43 thing going on. 43, the 14th prime. Let me see something here. Toronto Raptors basketball reference. Let me see if this has the wins by round. Year by year stats. Basic stats, team stats. Team stats. Playoffs. There's got to be a way to pull up the stats per round of the playoffs. Shoot. Year over year. Team stats. Let me try it this way. I just want to verify that that stat about the 2 and 14. Oh, that's 2018-19. Maybe we can just get it right here. All right, here's the stat. Okay, 10 and 72 a few years ago. Okay. We can look at how the birthdays line up with these guys too. We'll look at Kawhi Leonard. Somebody said that Kawhi Leonard's 13-0 against the 76ers, so he could also become 14-0 on this 43 date. Raptors. Okay. I'm just scanning this to see if there's anything jumping out here. A lot of individual player stats. Okay. Raptors went 3-1 in the regular season. That's another thing to think about. So 3-2 or 4-1 is the possibility today. It's not really going to factor in with the date. Here was that stat right there. 13 straight games to Toronto. All 4 games took place before the Raptors traded for Marc Gasol and the Sixers traded for Tobias Harris. February 5th. So interesting, like a 2-5 date. that was the 36th day of the year, Toronto 36. So the 36th day of the year today is the 117th. So it's 81 days later, or a span of 82 days. I don't think that. Let me see if that goes with the team names. Toronto Raptors, span of 82. Toronto Raptors 82. Raptors is also 82. So okay, they're playing a span of 82 days later. Philadelphia 76ers. Oh, Philadelphia 76ers has the connection to 82. Go figure. Guess it was destined. Add in the numbers, it's that way. Okay, so we see why they're playing a span of 82 days later. They couldn't have scripted it any better. Okay. The Raptors were 3-0 against the Sixers with Kawhi Leonard, who is 13-0 in his career against Philadelphia. So we got 2-14 things going on this 43-date numerology. That is really hard to go against, especially knowing about the pattern of 14. Huh. I still got to check the M cubed for these teams, but things are looking pretty good for the Raptors, I would say. And again, they can also stay on that 25 losses on the 25 date for the season. Again, it's the 117th day of the year, Toronto 117. Okay. Let's see how things line up with the star players here. Kawhi Leonard birthday. June 29th, 1991. So, okay, his upcoming birthday. Upcoming birthday is in 63 days, or a span of 64. His birthday was 302 days ago. 43 weeks and a day. So there's that 43 again. 43, the 14th prime. All right. Joel Embiid. March 16th. So he just had a birthday. Whoops. 42 days ago, or it's his 43rd day of his age. Get that. Oh my God. Ben Simmons. 20th. 84 days, or a span of 85. Basketball 85. 2 months and 23 days. Philadelphia 223. 281 days. The 60th prime. Yeah, I'm having trouble ignoring the 43-14 riddles. Let's do the M cubed thing real quick. Philadelphia 76ers. So they are 226 and 212. I know Toronto Blue Jays is 212. I don't think the Raptors have that connection. Toronto Blue Jays. Toronto Raptors. Ontario. So their next win is 227, the big pi number. 22 divided by 7 gives you pi. 227 is the 49th prime. Revelation 49, where Philadelphia gets its name. Okay, let's look at wait a minute. I didn't look at both of them, did I? Toronto's 36 and 51. We don't have date numerology that goes with 37 or 52. It's 25, the reflection of 52. It's going to be their 88th playoff game. It's going to be the 438th for Philadelphia. 8 teams. Where's oh, there they are. All right, Toronto Raptors, Philadelphia 76ers. Oh, man, there's one thing that could go against them. You see that? They could get their 43rd loss today. They could get their 43rd loss. And I can pull this up. So, yeah, they are 2-14 all time in the playoffs, first round. That's the one thing that go against them, being 2-15. Philadelphia is the 215 area code. And now we see that they could get – why does it got to be that way? They could get their 43rd loss against Philadelphia on the 43 date numerology. 31-17. It's going to be the 49th game. 3-4 in the playoffs. Caller?
Yeah, what's crazy about that Toronto game, it starts 4:30 your time.
Uh-huh.
And it's the 14th. And what you just said about the Blue Jays, today is the 27th. Yesterday, they stood on 14 wins. Number 27, Vladdy Jr. hit a run to hit the tying run. Well, to hit the winning run. And he wears number 27, and he kept them on 14 wins.
Huh. Very interesting. Yeah, some riddles going on.
Yeah, because you just said that Blue Jays 2-1-2.
Right, yeah.
And it's the 27th today.
Yeah,
and he kept them on 14 wins. 14 losses.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
All right, man. Appreciate it. I can't believe that they can pick up their 43rd loss today. That is something else. All right, let's look at the way the series is mapped out here. See if we can figure out something. So they're going to play again on the 119th day of the year. And we have the date numerology for April 29th up. 29th will be 72, 45, 27, 52. What I can say about that is if the Raptors lost the first 2 games at home, they would pick up their 27th loss of the season. The beginning of the year, we did think the Eastern Conference Finals would be 76ers and Celtics, which is still absolutely possible. But the way this series is lining up, the way the numbers are, it just looks better for the Raptors to win. The fact that the 76ers, if they lost the series, they'd get their 36th loss and Toronto's 36. Huh. Okay. So if the Raptors lost today, I think they might be in trouble for game 2. I'd say that. They win today, they don't have to worry about that riddle with game 2. 29th. When's the next game? May 2nd. May 2nd. Date numerology is 46, 19, 26. This will be back in Philly. That's not going to go with anything that's up there for the home and away records. Let's see, May 4th. May 5th, 5-5. Remember, Raptors is 55, playing on 5-5. 49, 22, 29. 22. 229. The Raptors could potentially get their 29th away win in this game. If they lost the first one in Philly and got the second, they'd be going for their 29th away win. So I'm just seeing what down the road could line up. 1, 2, 3, 4. No. 1, 2. That would be game 4. Both teams are 4-1 in the playoffs right now. We don't need to look any further than that for now. Man, I can't believe that the 76ers' next loss, or the Raptors' next loss, is their 43rd. That is such a ball breaker. Still, we did see how the losing streak began on a date with 43 numerology. 43 is the 14th prime. Kawhi Leonard can start 14-0 for his career against the 76ers. We saw that it was 43 weeks and 1 day after his last birthday. We saw that it's Embiid's 43rd day of his age. The 76ers playoff winning percentage right now is pretty much 43%. That's for that's against or never mind, that's Toronto's playoff winning percentage against Philly. I cannot believe this. I cannot believe it. Man, that does make it a risky game. That makes it a risky game. N does have the connection to 13. Sometimes the streak does end in the 14th game. If that 43 wasn't there, I'd be all over the Raptors. But now seeing that they could get their 43rd all-time loss on this 43 date. And again, that would make the Raptors 2-15, where that is the Philadelphia area code. That was part of their Super Bowl riddle when they won the other year. 117th day of the year, Toronto 117. What day was the May 5th game? That would be game 4. If the 76ers lost the first 3 games, because we saw that there was a riddle for the Raptors to lose in this one, they could still be on 55 wins coming into this game. And again, Raptors is 55. God, I can't believe that. I cannot believe that. All right, Spurs and Nuggets. Spurs and Nuggets. Let's check this out. Let's just see if we can find some gem here. I already know that this one's tight, but maybe there's something with the Blazers. And in fact, I'm just going to look there first. I'm going to look at the M cubed overall real quick, and then I just want to see what the Blazers' record is against both these teams. I know somebody said it'd be the 191st game, no matter what, but let's check it out. San Antonio Spurs. Their next win is 2-2-3. Reminds me of how Portland Seals established on March 22nd. And do the Trailblazers have a connection to 181? Portland Trailblazers. The Trailblazers? Trailblazers is 181. I just see that the Spurs' next loss is the 181st. Right here. 2-2-2 and 180. And Portland Blazers, if you leave off the trail part, it's 2-2-2. That Lillard shot was like 2 months and 22 days from his birthday or something like that. Okay. So the Spurs and the Nuggets. Here, I guess I should check some things like this real quick to see if these are prime numbers that tell us anything. Their next loss is 1,497. That's not prime. away 995 is not prime. Their next away win's 947. Is that prime? 161st prime number, which is like 5, the golden ratio. Portland Trailblazers. Portland Trailblazers and Golden State Warriors both have that 153 connection. Again, Lillard's from the Bay Area. Portland Trailblazers also 126 like Oakland. It's possible that Blazers winning the series 4-1 is actually, it could be pointing to San Antonio because San Antonio's 41, but it could also just be pointing to the Oakland connection with Lillard and the Warriors in a potential match. And I guess just to throw another one out there, Houston has the 41 connection as well, but thinking the Warriors are going to win that series. Okay. So San Antonio, I don't know how 161 would connect. Oh, I guess I should check the team they're actually playing. Denver. Oh, wow, look at that. Never mind. Denver Nuggets 161. Isn't that a trip? Isn't that a trip? Okay, so their next away win is 947, which is the 161st prime, and Denver Nuggets is 161 with the somebody's probably looking at that 118, but okay, hold up. Let me just make sure I got it all right here. 947, the 161st prime number. Denver Nuggets, 161. Amazing. Amazing. Okay. Well, that's very interesting. Got to give that as a big plus there for the Spurs. And then they'd get that infamous 2-2-3 to advance. Like I said, Portland's seal was established March 22nd. I know that because I'm from there. Trailblazers 181. Okay, Denver. So their next win's not prime. Their next loss isn't prime. Their next home win could be prime. Their next home loss would not be. What's 1173? Not prime. Well, so far the Spurs have the more interesting riddle. That's for sure. So their next loss is 105. Next win 65. I don't think that connects to anything. San Antonio Spurs. And again, the other thing is that Blazers did win their series 4-1, and they're going to play the winner of this series. So San Antonio 41. Okay, so San Antonio and Denver for the season. San Antonio's at 51 wins, 37 losses. If they won today, they would stay at 37 losses. Portland's 37. Like how Lillard helped them win the series with the 37-footer. Denver is 57-31 on the season. If they won today, they would get their 58th win. San Antonio is 58. That's something to keep in mind. Their next loss is 32, and Denver does have that connection to 31 and 32. The stronger Denver number is definitely 32. So if Denver lost today, they would pick up their 32nd loss in Denver. Season ender. At home, they're 36-8 so far. If they won, they would get their 37th win to go on to play Portland. And I think they would have home court advantage, wouldn't they? Because didn't they finish just ahead of Portland? Yeah. So if San Antonio won, that would help Portland get through the next round because they would have the home court advantage over San Antonio. And then you would also get that 3 versus 7 or 7 versus 3. This is the 73rd NBA season. San Antonio would advance with 37 losses. But then again, if Denver wins today, they have 37 home wins on the year. This would be their third home win in the series if they got it done today. So All right. Let's look at the games against each other. NBA teams, Denver Nuggets, series records, San Antonio Spurs, 78 and 141. San Antonio Spurs. Spurs has that 42 connection. When you write out 42, it's 142. Home, they're 55 and 52. If they lost today, it would be the 53rd loss. Trailblazers is 53, so is Portland. If you were just calling, it only rang one time and then it hung up. I don't know if you hung up or something went funny there. If you want to call back, I'll pick up. Okay. 9 and 23. Caller?
Hey, Zach, it's Vic from New York.
What's up, man?
I just wanted to say for this game, there might be a connection with LaMarcus Aldridge for the Spurs and Portland
Right.
for the possible next series.
Right.
So I don't know if you want to look at that. There might be something in the numbers.
Absolutely. Yeah, he used to play with the Blazers. I'll check that out.
All right, Zach.
All
Have a
right.
good one.
Appreciate it. Yeah, LaMarcus Aldridge played college ball in Texas. The whole time he was on the Blazers, he let it be known he wanted to play in Texas again. Now he plays in Texas. So we'll check that out. I used to call him Feather. He was the softest big man ever when he came into the league, but he's not as soft as he used to be. Caller?
Hey, something just a little more abstract, maybe. Might not be relevant, but today's Saturday, right?
Right.
I think the Spurs have a history of playing pretty well on Saturday. That they got that Saturn connection, right?
Right.
Just wanted to throw that in there. I'm feeling them today, man.
Did you see what I showed about the prime number for the Spurs' next win?
Yeah, I'm feeling that, man. That's fucking strong, dude.
So, yeah, you're liking the Spurs. Okay, yeah, they got Riddles. They got Riddles.
Yep.
All right,
guy.
All right, appreciate it.
Good call on that hockey game last night, man.
Well, the Carolina one, yeah. All right.
You know what? That's what we were supposed to. That's what I picked.
Yeah, that was the better pick. That was the better pick.
Stuff. That was the strongest play.
Yeah, it was. All right, man.
Here.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
And speaking of, okay, for if Pix Money was calling in, Pix Money, he's like whatever the flavor of the day is, but he'd be calling in right now. He'd be saying, Saturday equals 53, and the Spurs could get their 53rd. They could get their, or actually, he'd have it this way. Never mind. This is from Denver's perspective. So Pix Money would be pointing out that the Nuggets could get their 53rd home loss on Saturday against the Spurs. So I guess Pix Money would even be, he'd be feeling the Spurs too. Okay. Remember this for next season. You're going to have a prime relationship right here for the next away game. 9 and 24. So this is the 33rd game. Both teams have the 33 connection, Spurs and Nuggets. But, okay, let's look at LaMarcus Aldridge too. So far, the Spurs have the better riddles, that's for sure. The Spurs definitely have the better riddles. The mind blow stat was, just in case you missed it one more time, the mind blow stat was right here, that the Spurs' next away win all time is 947, which is the 161st prime number. There it is. Next away win, 947. And Denver Nuggets is 161. So that is pretty incredible. I hate when my phone does that. This guy keeps texting. Okay. What else can we look at here? We're going to look at LaMarcus Aldridge, but I just want to check out a few more things. What are they playing? The Pepsi Center or something? Yeah, Pepsi Center. Pepsi Center. Ugh. So so there are a few things that could go against San Antonio. Pepsi Center equals 58 like San Antonio. If Denver won, they would get their 58th win of the season today. If they lost, they'd stay. God, this guy's annoying. My phone's on silent and it's making the noise anyway. I hate when people just keep sending text messages. This guy's like up to 40 text messages this morning. Who does that? Okay. There's another one. All right. 58. So that's just one thing. That's one thing Denver has going. If they stayed at 57, remember when you write out 57, it equals 131. All right, let's check out LaMarcus Aldridge here. July 19th, he's 33 years old right now. Oregon, the 33rd state. Spurs, 33. Nuggets, 33. July 19th, 2018 to today. 282 days. It's also 9 months and 9 days for his age. Remember, Portland Trailblazers is 99. Portland Trailblazers, 99. When Lillard hit the shot, it was, I forget what it was. There was a 9-9 connection to Lillard's age, too, with the shot. It's 283 prime. I think that's the 61st prime. At 283 is the 61st prime. That's right. Lillard's shot was on his 283rd day of his age. And what is it? Trailblazers? Is it 61 or is it Blazers? Blazers is 61. So this saying he's going to play his old team here. So yeah, this is the same setup Lillard had when he hit his game winner. Oh, that's right. Lillard's birthday is July 15th, and that game winner was 4 days ago. So maybe Aldridge going on to play his old team. Huh. His name's 99 too. How about that? How about that? Portland on the 122nd meridian. Crazy. How about to his upcoming birthday? How's that going to work out? Oh, wait, did I screw? Oh, it's because I have that up. To his upcoming birthday. 84 days, or if you don't count the span, it's 83 days. If you count the span, it's 84, or 2 months and 23 days, like how the Spurs are going for their 223rd win. But that 83 days, again, Blazers is 83. This is the same alignment Lillard had. So they're playing in Colorado today. Blazers also 61. I want to see what his all-time stats are against Portland. We'll check the coach's stats too. Popovich, I believe, is still at those 113 losses. Remember, he got that on the 113th day of the year. How do I get rid of this? Okay. He's 9. 9-5 against Portland. Okay. It's not a great clue. Let's do this to Spurs, Nuggets, head-to-head. You know, the Nuggets won the last one in Denver, and the Spurs won the one before that. All right, Denver's 2-1 in this series at home. Just in the regular season there, they lost 2 times. Last year, they lost both there. 1, split it. All right, I don't see there's going to be any great pattern there. But the stat I can't get over is that prime number relationship. I can't get over that prime number relationship with the Spurs' next away win. So that seems pretty incredible to me. That seems like the takeaway stat. And again, I've been talking about how Portland won 4-1 and San Antonio's 41. And it also reminds me of the Oregon standoff situation where the Oregon lost the Alamo Bowl on the record comeback by TCU. They lost with 41 points. And then you had the 41-day standoff, which we called from the day it began, standoff 41. It was led by, what's his name, Ammon Bundy, 41. And it was a group of ranchers, 41. I just wonder if somehow that could tie into this series. Because sometimes the world of sports, the web, it's like riddles are scripted a few years out too. You guys remember that? Oregon losing the Alamo Bowl in San Antonio with 41 points. And then right after the game ended, the news broke about the Oregon standoff. The other things, though, that I just keep thinking about is San Antonio's at 37 losses. If they win, they stay there. Portland's 37. But if Denver won, they get their 37th home win. Portland 37. So that's the dicey piece. I got to say I favor San Antonio here. So if I'm betting this game, I'm taking San Antonio to cover. San Antonio to cover would be my pick. Just in case they lost in a close game. Somebody called in about the 133rd NBA Game 7 too. 133rd NBA Game 7. Let's see if we can pull that up. He said the stats 104 and 28. Let's see if this pulls it up. Here it is. Game 7's April 26, 2019. So just like he said, 104 and 28. So home team has done very well. %. Again, Colorado is 133, so it's interesting that the 133rd game is there. Okay, I'll just put it up with just the 4-base ciphers. Today has the 43-date numerology, Colorado 133. So far, that was last year. Is this the first game 7 in 2019 for basketball? I guess it is. All this, yeah, this is the first one to go get 7 games. Okay. So first game 7. All right. So the Jazz were the last. Oh no, never mind. Last year was dead even too. Caller.
Hey Zach, it's Rob again.
Hey.
Hey, you were looking at Portland and San Antonio connections. Maybe take a look at Terry Porter.
Oh yeah, he played for the Spurs for a minute too.
Yeah, and then he went on to coach later too. I'm not sure if he coached for the Spurs or was like an assistant coach, something like that. But yeah, he was big on both of those teams for a while.
I'll never forget Terry Porter. I hate him. I was a little kid, and I saw him at the mall, and I asked for his autograph, and he scoffed at me and walked away. I was like, what a jerk.
Yeah, that dude's a dick.
He is, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
All right, man.
Appreciate it. Thanks. Yeah, I remember being a little kid because Lloyd Center's in Portland. A lot of the Blazers would shop there. They'd always be at Foot Locker. And Terry Porter, just the way he responded to me when I asked him, I was probably like 8 years old. Oh, my goodness. Terry Porter. He does connect both teams. April 8th, so the game would be 19 days after his birthday. I don't know who he'd favor, though. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 75. He's got 94 birth numerology. 56. Is anybody going for 56? Caller?
Hey, Zach, this is Dunham. Are you aware of the 13-game loser streak?
For the 76ers?
Yes.
I am. So the 76ers are on a third. So I'll just.
Because I stepped away from the stream for a bit.
So listen to this. So the 76ers are on a 13-game losing streak at Toronto. Kawhi Leonard's 13-0 against the 76ers. And when that losing streak began, it began on a date with 43 numerology, right? And today has 43 numerology, the 14th prime. So Raptors were looking so golden, but then we looked at the Raptors and 76ers record against each other all time. And the Raptors could get their 43rd loss today against the 76ers.
Yeah, and the 117th day of the year, that number with 13.
13 does equal 117. So does Toronto. You're true. That's true as well.
Yeah. With that juicy money line, they're like plus 230. I have to take the Sixers with that juicy money line.
Well, you can do that because it could happen. If the Raptors lose today, they're going to get their 43rd loss on a 43 date. Don't forget that N does have Gematria 13 as well. So sometimes streaks.
Joel Embiid for the Sixers, he's in his 43rd day of his age.
That we saw that, and it's also 43 weeks after Kawhi Leonard's birthday. So, yeah.
But then the streak can go to 14. That's so tough.
It is, man. I was thinking Raptors were looking delicious until I saw that the 76ers could give them their 43rd loss, and then I was like, whoa. So
this is tough. So you're favoring the Sixers a little more?
Well, here's the other riddle for the 76ers. If the Raptors lose today, they're 2-15 in game ones all time as a franchise. That's Philadelphia's area code 215. So.
Oh wow.
So.
That's great. All right, Zach. Gotcha.
All right.
I'll be watching the rest of the stream.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, that game's real dangerous. I mean, if you want to do what Denham's doing, Denham's betting Philadelphia because they pay well. So if you bet Philadelphia, I'd definitely take the points, but. I mean, that game's really as dangerous as they get. It looked great for Toronto until we saw the 43 thing. And like I was saying, these numbers are all Philadelphia. The over-under's at 223. Philadelphia's 223. The line's 6.5. Philadelphia's 65. Is that where it began? Let me see if that's where the line began. Philadelphia equals 65, and it's established on the day leaving 65 days left in the year. So, yeah, that is where it began. So, Okay. Let's look at tomorrow's games because they're early. Let's do Celtics and Bucks. So the Celtics swept their series. So the Celtics would be 53 and 33. And of course, Milwaukee equals 53. And that means that the Celtics for the season are 23 and 20 away. Oops, I'm writing these notes down on a piece of paper. I wrote it in the wrong spot. I need to post all this stuff. I will. There's too many things to do each day. I'm telling you, if I was single, I'd have a lot more free time. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Bucks. All right, the Bucks. They swept their series too, didn't they? Didn't the Bucks sweep their series? Let me just go back and double check that. Let's see. Yeah, they swept Detroit. That's right. Okay, so you know Wisconsin's 118 too, and so is Celtics, and this series is starting on the 118th day of the year. All right, but the Bucks, they are 64 and 22. Remember, we talked about that because Boston's 22 and Celtics is 26. So if they pick up their fourth loss of the series, the Celtics win the series, they get the 26th loss. And then at home, they are 35 and 8. And we know that Celtics equals 35 when you use the rule for S. So tomorrow's date numerology, give me 1 second here. It's just going to take a second. Well, here, I'll just do it. Give me 1 second. Get ready for tomorrow. Okay. Remember, John Havlicek, or however you say his name, equals 118 like Celtics. Oh, 71 date numerology as well. Celtics equals 71. And I think Havlicek's name is too. 44, Wisconsin's 44. This is the 20th prime number. 26, Celtics 26, just like how the Bucks can get 26 losses, 51. That's the date numerology for tomorrow's game. So we got some Celtics numbers here. That could be a clue that the Bucks are destined for 26 losses by the end of the series. Let me see. So Celtics 71, 118. Let me make sure his name of his spelling right. Remember, this guy just died 17 days after his birthday. He wore the number 17. NBA equals 17. The Celtics lead the NBA with 17 championships. Somebody pointed out that there's also something I think about, that his last career game was against the Buffalo Braves, who are now the Los Angeles Clippers, who just got beat by the Warriors. There's probably something to that. He died the day before the Clippers got closed out by the Warriors. Again, we've been expecting Warriors Celtics all season. But his name's 118. Maybe his last name's 71. His last name is 71. Okay. 35 as well, like Celtics with the S. And they're playing the first game on the 118th day of the year, right after his death. So you know that's going to be a big narrative while they're talking about the game, as sick as it is. Let me think about Milwaukee. So Milwaukee is 53. The Celtics come in with 53 wins. Now, I will say this. If the Celtics lost 4 games, they would have 37 losses, and Milwaukee is also 37. That's something we're going to need to consider. Okay. Milwaukee Bucks. Milwaukee Bucks. The Celtics kept the Pacers at 48 wins, sweeping them. Boston Celtics 48, Milwaukee Bucks 48. The man who just died, his birthday was April 8th. So both of them have connection to that number. Bucks. Okay. So again, tomorrow's date numerology. It doesn't look like tomorrow's date is going to line up with the win-loss records in any way because, again, the Celtics are going to be 53 and 33 overall coming in tomorrow. So there's no 54-34 on the board. Bucks does equal 34, so their 34th loss, I mean, it's probably coming. Bucks 34, their star player wears 34. The Bucks are going to be 64 and 22, so we don't have a 65 or 23 date. Got a call here. Caller?
Hi, Zach. I just got back from your live stream. You're doing tomorrow's games?
We're doing tomorrow's basketball games as well because they start early.
Would you say the coaching records matter a lot more in the playoffs too? Because
I do think so. Yeah, just like how we saw Popovich get his 113th loss on the 113th day of the year.
Okay. Well, if you look at both of the coaching records for Celtics, I mean, both of the coaching records for the Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks coaches, they scream Boston numbers.
Do they?
See what I'm talking.
Okay.
Just look at both of their records, and I think that goes well for Milwaukee for Game 1.
Okay. You're saying it looks good for Milwaukee for Game 1?
Yeah, for Game 1. I don't know about the series, but I expect the Celtics to win the series based on the information you put out earlier. But yeah, for Game 1, I think Milwaukee looks good. If those coaching records, it just looks it lines up too perfectly. You'll see when you go look at it.
Okay, so I am going to check that out next. Just before you get off the phone, just to make sure you hear this, tomorrow's date numerology, the date of Game 1, 118th day of the year. Wisconsin equals 118, so does Celtics. We just saw the death of the Boston Celtics player whose name equals 118. His name also equals 71, so does Celtics. So we have 71 date numerology tomorrow and 26. Celtics 26 and 71. I am going to look at those coaching records. You could be right, but I'm just saying tomorrow's date has some big Celtics connections and connection to the Celtic man who just died. So that's standing out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's interesting. That's
All
interesting.
right. But I am going to do the coaches.
Yeah, but those coaching records screen Celtics numbers too, which is funny.
Okay.
So you'll see what I'm talking about.
Okay. I'm on it.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
No problem.
Okay. Yeah, it's nice to see you guys doing your own work and making the connections. You know, you never know when they could shut me down, so you're going to want to be your own teacher and understander of this information. But I was also saying that there's no connection for the win-loss records for the overall or the home and away. The Celtics away will be 23 and 20. We don't have a 24 or 21 date numerology. And the Bucks are 35 and 8 at home. We don't have a 36 or a 9. So we got nothing for the date numerology for the overall records in the home and away. So next thing to look at, coaching records. And let me get this out of here. And wait, did we oh, hold on though. I forgot to do the we got to look at the M cube to see if there's something there, and then we'll do the coaches. NBA team series records, Boston Celtics, 370 and 278. And what I got to check is if 371 or 279 are prime. 371 is not prime. 279 is not prime either. Okay. So, there's that. And the Milwaukee Bucks, 115 and 130. So next win's 116. Next loss, 131. Boston's 32, right? 131 is the 32nd prime. So that next loss seems definitely destined. Okay, and now let's see how they are head-to-head. Milwaukee Bucks, series records, Boston Celtics. Ooh, look at that. They're at 118 wins. And this game's on the 118th day of the year. So if they didn't win, they'd stay right there at 118 on the 118th day of the year. Now, just yesterday, San Jose Sharks, one of the things that was going against them, which ended up not mattering, is The Sharks could have got their 116th playoff loss on the 116th day of the year. They didn't. Home, let's see. So it will be a home game. Notice 73. Let me think about this. And 47. Now, we saw how both teams' name equals 48. Milwaukee Bucks, 48. Boston Celtics, 48. And you know what? Let's take a moment and let's see when the next game is. So April 30th, so the 120th day of the year. This will be a date with 19 numerology, 34, 46, 1946, and 73. Yeah, 1946, 73. Now, did I just see a 73? So if Milwaukee dropped the first game, they would go into game 2 still at 73 home wins on the 73 date numerology. Okay. 4 plus 30 plus 20 plus 19, 73. So if they lose game 1, they go into game 2 still at 73 home wins, which makes some sense. And where did I make these notes at? I'm just going to write it down real quick. 4/30/2019 will be 73, 46, 28, 53. Milwaukee is 53. That's the lesser date numerology, so it's the less important method. You could say that if the Celtics dropped game 1, they would come into game 2 with still 53 overall wins on the season. Okay. But you know what? With regards to this 73 date numerology, that's the 21st prime number, right? And the Celtics could get their 21st away loss of the season in this game. Could get the 21st away loss. So to me, so far, it's looking like it makes more sense for the Celtics to win game 1 and lose game 2. I'd have to think more about game 2 just because there's a chance that if Milwaukee dropped their first 2 games at home, they could also stay at 73 wins at home on the 73 date, which is possible. Okay, so if they lost the first game, they would go into they'd go into game 2 with 21 losses on that 73 date. Again, 73 is the 21st prime. It's looking pretty destined that these teams are going to split the first 2 games. So we just have to figure out the right order here. We have to figure out the right order. And so far to me, it's looking more like Celtics win game 1, Boston wins game 2. But caller said the coaches' records make this a little more cloudy. So we're going to check that out. Remember, Bucks lose game 1. They stay at 118 wins on the 118th day of the year. Number that overlaps with both locations. And really, I would say it's stronger with the Celtics just because you don't call them the Wisconsin Bucks. They do play in Wisconsin, but it's the 118 overlap. Okay. So we need the coaches' records here. Celtics coaching record. Oh, whoops. Hold on. Isn't it the guy from Zion, Brad Stevens or something? Yeah, from Zion. Brad Stevens coaching record. Okay. All right, he is 26 and 25. Now I see what the caller was talking about. This is probably exactly what he was talking about. The fact that he could become 26 and 26 on the 26 date numerology. So that's tough. So I'm sure that's what he was talking about. Brad Stevens loses, he would be 26 and 26 in the playoffs on the 26th day. Man. I don't like to lead with coaching records, but that does make things real questionable right there. All right. And I guess we can see how it lines up with his birthday too. They're playing April 28th, 22nd. So from his last birthday, 188 days. It's a span of 27 weeks or 26 weeks and 6 days. 22nd. I'm going to map out more games just to see if there's another 26 date in the series. All right. Bucks coach Mike Budenholzer. Okay, let's see. He is 21 and 22. So this is exactly what the caller was saying. So if he wins, he's 22 and 22, and Boston's 22. So it would be a perfect Boston Celtics tribute. 22 and 22, Boston 22, 26 and 26, Celtics 26. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Okay, so for this guy, it would be his 266th day of his age, and I just saw something with, let me see. What did I just see with 266 and Brad Stevens? Or I thought I did. Maybe I didn't. Was it in the M cubed? What did I just see? I swear I saw something. Oh, it was 26 weeks and 6 days. That's what it was. So it's on his 266th day of his age, and then it's 26 weeks and 6 days after Brad Stevens' birthday. That's a big Catholic number. Boston's a big Catholic city. Games in Milwaukee, though. All right. I'm going to map out some more games in this series here. So May 3rd. Where was I making these notes at? All right. May 3rd. Celtics 35. So this date will have 47 numerology. 5 plus 3 plus 20 plus 19. Or I'm cheating. Okay. 20 numerology and 27 with the lesser method. And then is the next game May 5th. May 5th. No, must be May 6th. May 6th. Okay. So May 6th is going to be plus 3 to everything. So 50, 23, 30. And game 5 would be May 8th. Caller?
Yeah, Zach, I'm sorry for interrupting you, but I just looked at something on Instagram, and if the Spurs win, it'll be the 3 seed versus the 7 seed.
Right. That's what I'm saying. 73rd NBA season.
And he just hit that 37-foot shot, and yeah, all right. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. That's definitely something we were looking at. All right. 52-25. I'm doing this just to see if we can figure out how some of this might flow here. All right. And the next game would be May 10th, game 6. like game 7 would be May 13th. So May 10th, May 13th. Okay. All right, so that's going to have an extra date numerology. 54. You got your life lesson number 1527. Also 18. 34. May 13th. 57. Life lesson 30. 21. 37. Milwaukee 37. Could be a 7-game series. Caller?
Did you already mention Portland equals 37?
Oh, yeah.
All right, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, and then that would make Portland the home seed. And if Portland can get by the next round, which if it's San Antonio, it should be a lot easier. You could get that Damian Lillard Warriors Battle of Oakland thing going. So he's from Oakland. That's something else I need to think about too with these series. What records could line up with how these teams could meet right here. But all right, so Milwaukee. So Milwaukee. This is Boston. So let's do this. This game here in Boston. Milwaukee, Boston, Milwaukee. First 2 games are Milwaukee, obviously. All right, so you know what I need? I need the Celtics away record too. That's what I'm missing here. Yeah, the coach, man, just on the surface, everything we normally look at looks real good for the Celtics for game 1, but then you look at that coach's record and it's like, well, wait a minute. So tells the exact opposite story. All right, so the Celtics for the season away. Or no. I need their home. Whoops, I got the wrong one. Play May 3rd. So Celtics 35, first game back in Milwaukee. All right, the Celtics home record then for the season is 30-13. Boston has that 31 connection, so they could get a 31-13 record in that game. And Milwaukee away, they swept, so they're 29-14. All right, so let's look at this. Away 45-82. Well, I'm not seeing any date numerology that lines up with Milwaukee's record in Boston in terms of wins they could get. Game 20. Game 2 is the 73-date numerology. Well, if the Bucks did take the first game, if they did, because the coach's record seemed to suggest it's good for the Bucks. If they did, they could pick up their 21st loss in the game 2. They wouldn't be on those 73. Game 2's on that 73 date numerology. Game 2's right here. They'd come off that 73rd home win, but then they could get their 21st loss on the 73 date. 73, the 21st prime. Man, it's tough. Yeah. The coach records really would be perfect, though, if Milwaukee won the first game. I can't deny that. But it's just tough, though, because if Milwaukee loses game 1, they stay at 118 wins on the 118th day of the year. So if Milwaukee did win game 1, they would have a chance at the 120th win as well on the 120th day of the year. So, the way this series lines up, it's going to be a tricky one. And whoever wins will play either the 76ers or the Raptors. It's not going to be clear either. All right. Well, we'll review it all, but yeah, it's going to be a tight call tomorrow. The coaches' records say Milwaukee. The immediate season records are suggestive for the Celtics. So check out the other game tomorrow. Rockets and Warriors game 1. The Rockets went 4-1. They lost 1 in Houston, and the Warriors 4-2, losing 2 at home and winning them all in LA. And that's something up with the Nipsey Hussle thing, because remember the Warriors were connected to the Nipsey Hussle riddle, who died in LA. And then the death of the Celtic, who played his last game against the Buffalo Braves during that series, and the Buffalo Braves became the Clippers. So I'm still liking Boston Warriors until proven otherwise. But the start date of the finals to me spells Oakland, California. Again, the start date of the NBA Finals is a date with 74 numerology. Oakland, California is 74. And it's a date with 54 numerology as well. Oracle 54. And the Celtics snapped that home winning streak at 54 games in Oracle, that record streak. And that's what we've been looking at since before the season began. And now we've seen a death for Kevin Durant and a death for the Celtics that line up with the finals. So actually I actually didn't do the math on how that lines up at the start of the finals. I know that the Kevin Durant one, the death of his brother-in-law or stepbrother, I know that lined up, but I actually don't think I checked this. Well, that's very interesting. From the death of the Celtic, April 25th, to the start of the finals is 35 days, and again, Celtics is 35, and May 30th, 5 plus 30, 35, so. And his name also has that gematria too, doesn't it? Didn't we just see that? Last name, or is it the whole name? His whole name's 55, like Boston, Massachusetts. His last name's 35. You got to assume they're going to be there. The riddle is just too good. All right, but Rockets, Warriors. So for the season, the Rockets are, let me make sure I got all these notes written down right. I'm just writing on papers. Helps me think. 57-30 overall. They went 4-1 against Utah. 57-30. And in that series, they went 1-1 away. So hold on, they're away first. Okay, so away they're 23-20. And the Warriors struggled at home in the playoffs. They're the Road Warriors. Let's see. So they're 61. Remember, Rockets is 25. Yeah, they're 61-28. Rockets is 28. Rockets is 62. And then at home, They went 1-2. So they are 31. Oakland has the 31 connection. They're 31-13 at home. James Harden, number 13. Houston, 31. Houston's also 32. The More Pierce, 31. And let's also figure out what their away records would be real quick. So we're going to do the same thing. All right. So the Warriors went 3-0 away in that series. So that means they're 30-14 away, meaning that their first away win will be 31. Houston's 31. They got 2 away wins. Houston's also 32. Oops, wrote it in the wrong spot. $30, 14. And the Rockets at home in their series, they went 3-0. So they are 34-10 at home. Okay. Okie dokie. So this series is starting on the 118th day of the year, right? And this year we've learned so much about the Bay Area in 118. So we know this is a big Bay Area number. The date numerology again, 71, 44, 26, 51. Let's see. So the Rockets are 57-30 overall. So they're not well, the Rockets' next win is 58. Oakland is 58. Does Golden State have that 58 connection? I think it does. Golden State's 58. Oakland's 58. So next win there's 58. And I think Warriors has a 59 connection. So the Rockets getting to at least 59 wins makes sense. Okay. Golden State Warriors. Okay. And the Warriors being at 28 losses. Again, Rockets is 28, how they come in. Rockets is 28. If they won game one, they'd be 62-28. They'd have a record that matched their opponent. Again, the Warriors are at 31 home wins, and Houston is 31 as well as 32. Should think about the overall series records. Right now, they're 4-2. If they won, they'd be 5-2. The Rockets. The Rockets are 4-1. If they won, they'd be 5-1 in the playoffs on the lesser date numerology of 51. Rockets. Houston Rockets is 59, like Warriors. They have an overlap with that number. Okay. But the Warriors at home, 31-13. So that doesn't go with our date. That does not go. And the Rockets away are 23-20. Now, if the Rockets didn't lose, they would stay at 20 losses on this 71 date numerology, 71, the 20th prime. They're talking up how Steph Curry's ankles tweaked. The Rockets might be looking to exploit them. But I'd say this is one thing that's favorable for the Rockets, possibly staying at 20 losses on the season on the 71 day. Game 2 is the 30th. Game 2 is the 30th. And May 30th, 73, the 21st prime. So that would be a good day for the Rockets to get their 21st away loss on that 73 date. If they lost game 1, they'd come in with 21 away losses and possibly stay on it. Getting the 58th win in Oakland to the season kind of makes sense. Oakland and Golden State 58. Now, this date has 28 numerology as well, and the Warriors are at 28 losses on the season coming into this series. So if the Warriors won game one, they'd come in here, we're still on 28 losses. And that would mean that the Rockets, well, you'd have a judgment call there, but if the Warriors won game one, they would come in with 28 losses. The Rockets would still be at 20. No. The Rockets would then, that would mean they would have 21 away losses. And this date has 73 numerology, the 21st prime. So that's kind of conflicting with the date numerology as well. These games are tight. Can make an argument either way because of that. Let's think about the next game. Is the next game May 3rd? May 4th. All right, let me just scroll down here. So May 4th would be a date with 9. It would have 48 numerology, 21, and lesser numerology at 28. This method matters the least. So 21. This is the first game back in Houston. We're looking at Houston home records though, so that wouldn't matter as much. Yeah, the Rockets are 34-10 at home, and the Warriors are 30-14 away, so that's actually not going to matter. It's not going to line up. May 6th. $50, 23, 30. So 23 losses. This is game 4. No, that's not going to go with the dates either. If the Rockets were undefeated in the series, I can't imagine that. They could still be at 30 losses on the season. Okay. And when would the next game be? 5-8. Rockets, Warriors. All right, 5-8. Let's be back in Oakland. Seems like they got to play that game on 5-8, right? Oakland and Golden State, 58. All right, 13. So 52, 25, 32. If the Rockets picked up their second away win in the series in this game, they could get to their 25th away win. Right there. That's game 5. So that's very possible. That would go with the date. And the Warriors could potentially be at 32 home wins on that day. if they lost. So if the Warriors went 1-2 at home up to that point in the series, just like how they struggled at home against LA, they could stay on 32 home wins. So that's an observation. Let's see. May 10th. May 10th. Game 6. This will be back in Houston. So 54, Oracle's 54. Could be a sign I'd be going back to Oracle for game 7. 18, 34. Let's think about that. The Rockets, if they got beat, they could get their 34th loss of the season. It wouldn't be this, well, is that possible? I guess if the Warriors played really well in Houston, if they won 1 of 3 at home at this point and both in Houston, they could close them out here in game 4. Lesser numerology at 34. And it would be the Rockets' 34th loss of the season. That would also keep the Rockets at 34 home wins in the series if they did not win at home. The Rockets are at 34 home wins right now. So that's interesting. That is interesting. And let's just check out game 7 too. Game 7, May 12th. All right. 56. 36. Game will be back in Oakland. And I don't think. Well, if the Rockets won every single game would that be possible? If the Rockets won every single game in Oakland and the Warriors won them all in Houston, it's possible that the Rockets could come into this game with 20 away losses. Be a weird series. But for whatever reason, the Warriors are playing a lot better on the road. So there's a few different possibilities there. All right, we're going to have to look at the M cubed here. M cubed series records. All right. Houston Rockets. They're at 153 losses. Golden State Warriors is 153. If they won the first 2 in Oracle, they would be 153, 153. It's interesting. Golden State Warriors, 180. And they're at 153 losses. Golden State Warriors. So first win is 181. You know what's interesting about that? Houston, Texas is 181. Houston, Texas with the alphabetic order, 181. Huh. That would be something if they started 0-2. Man, I really wish I knew who this guy was that kept sending text messages. Should block it. Okay. All right. Couple more things here. NBA teams. Golden State Warriors. Series records. Houston Rockets. Now, their first win against the Rockets is going to be 106. They're 105 and 129 all time. 106. Oakland, California is 106. And Oracle Arena is 106 feet tall. If you doubt that, here it is. Been talking about this for years. 106 feet, prophecy number. Philadelphia, the land of prophecy, where the Warriors are from. Oakland, C. Oh, Oakland, CA is 181 too. Go figure. Okay, so they could pick it up right there as well. They could pick it up right there. Oracle Arena is 105. They come in on the 105 wins. Next one, 106. Okay. Dude. Okay. So at home, 57 and 60. Again, Oakland's 58, Golden State's 58. So next win is 58. Rockets has the connection to 62. The Rockets are at 57 wins. Okay. Look at these games here. Game 2 was April 30th. Oops. April 30th. 73, 46, 28, 53. Caller?
Hey, Zach, I'll make it real quick. Last night, the Warriors won with 239 total points. And they play Oakland A's from Philly, right?
Right.
Athletics. They play Toronto today. And then Toronto and Philly play tonight in the NBA. Do you see a connection there?
And you're saying like how the Warriors are originally from Philly? So yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, the Warriors, they were from Philly, right? And then they went to Oakland, right? Same with the Athletics. They used to be the Philly Indians. Right. They went to Kansas City, and then they went to Oakland.
Right.
68.
Right.
And then tonight, Philly plays Toronto. Toronto plays today with, Philly in the NBA.
Right.
They play baseball, too. So I'm wondering, 3 teams connected with Philly play Toronto. You know what I mean? They used to, not with Philly, but Oakland.
I do see what you're saying. Yeah, that's a really great observation.
I don't know, just a thought.
Well, I think we should watch these scores here in these games. Yeah, you got a great observation there with that. This baseball game could be a clue.
4 o'clock today, so they play early. But they're at Toronto also.
Yeah, this baseball game could be a clue for the NBA game tonight because it used to be the Philadelphia Athletics.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a great point. All right, appreciate it, man.
Thanks, bye.
All right. Okay. So 12 and 5. Oh yeah, we were talking about this. If Oakland if the Warriors drop the first game, they'd be 12 and 6, and we know that number's big with Oakland. It's just like how we talked about the Athletics. I think they made the Astros 12 and 6 in Oakland, but Oakland in 126. Oakland's 126 in Jewish Gematria. It's a riddle with that city in sports. So if they did drop the first game, they would be 12 and 6. That's hard to overlook. You got to pull up the Jewish Gematria, but Oakland's 126 right there. So, like when Oakland closed out the Cavs 2 years ago, they did it on June 12th. And I think they beat the Cavs on Martin Luther King Jr. Day with 126 points. Cavs. That was the same year they closed out June 12th. What would that have been? 2016 or 17? I can't think. I think it would have been. I think this is the game right here. Yeah. See, they beat them with 126 on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and then they went on to close them out June 12th, 12-6. It was all synced up. There's a bigger riddle to that. But there's been we've documented the 126 number of times over the years there with the Warriors. So, okay. So there is reason to believe Houston could come in and take game one. Because game two of the series is on the 73 date, which is the 21st prime. And if the Rockets lost in that game, they would get their 21st away loss. So the Celtics and the Rockets both have the same away record and are playing the same pattern. It's possible that the Celtics and the Rockets move together in their series. They could very well both lose the first game and win the second because they're both playing on the same dates and have the same potential pattern. But man, the Celtics coach record tells an opposite story. Here, we need to check out the coaches for the Rockets and Warriors. And speaking of which, I think I forgot to check out the coaches for the Spurs and Blazers. I did, so we'll go back and do that too. I forgot to do that. All right, but we're on Rockets Warriors right now, so let's do it. Rockets coach. No, it's not. Oh yeah. So I was saying with Mike D'Antoni, if he loses the series, he'll get his 49th loss, and Warriors is 49. So I know that he got his 45th loss on the lesser 45 date against Jazz. Jazz 45. Their star player wears 45. Okay, so his next win is 48, and did we have a 48 date? May 4th. The game on May 4th is 48. About April. Okay. Well, the numbers don't seem to suggest that D'Antoni would he could be on 48 wins when that game rolls around if they split the first two, which is kind of how it's looking. So that's game 3, May 4th. Could be coming into that game on 48 playoff wins. Okay. But if the Rockets won 2 and lost 4, his record would be 49-49 against the Warriors. We did see Golden State does have the 50 connection. The Clippers did get to 50 wins on the season. So, but Warriors in 49. If he went 6 games, he had 98 playoff games coached, National Basketball Association 98. At game 6 date, game 3 was really May 4th, huh? They have a big gap there between game 2 and game 3. Okay. All right. May 4th. So in his stats, 47 and 45. Look at these games again. If he lost in game 2, remember he'd get his 46th playoff loss in game 2, and the Rockets would get their 21st away loss on the 73 date, 73 the 21st prime. So I'm starting to think that the Rockets do win game 1 and the Warriors come back and get game 2, because again, if the Rockets win, you get that 12-6 tribute too, like 126. Or where'd it go? So if the Rockets win, the Warriors would be 12-6 in the playoffs. 126 Oakland. I keep seeing that. And then it's making sense with the coach's record too, and the team's overall record. So and then he would go into that game 3 at 48 playoff wins on a lesser date numerology of 48. We'd have to think more about that game when it rolled around. But if the Warriors did really well in Houston, we did see how think about that again. So if they went 1-1 in game 1, game 3's right here. So he could get his 47th playoff loss. Or wait, no, they play May 4th. That's messed up. That's not right. Game 5, game 6. No, 3, 4, 5, game 5. Houston. The 4-2 series would really make sense if the Warriors won, making them 49 and 49. So that would end right here. And again, Houston could get their 34th loss of the season right here in game 6. That would be on their home court. Let's check out Steve Kerr's stats real quick. Steve Kerr, 67 and 22. West is 67 and 22. That's not going to go with the date. Houston. It's 68th win. It's man. That's the only thing I worry about with the Warriors is just that they're at 28 losses on the season. The first game's on the 28th, and the next game's on a 28-date numerology. So there are some conflicting numbers here with these playoff games. These ones are tight. Steve Kerr, though, let's think. Okay, looking down the road at his games, 67-22. The Warriors came out on fire. The first date numerology that would correspond with his potential records right here. They'd have to win the first 3 games. It's hard for me to imagine them winning the first 3-0. But it's possible. If they did, he could get his 23rd loss right here. Not any 68. If he picked up 2 losses through the first 4 games, if it was 2-2, he could also get his 25th loss in the playoffs all time right here. And this is where the Rockets could get that 25th away win. The Rockets would win 2 out of 3 in Oakland in the first 3 if they did. And I could see that because they haven't played well at home all year. The Warriors have been pretty well. They've just I guess their home record's not terrible, 31-13, but they lost a bunch of games this year at home, which is just like, really? I mean, they lost to a lot of the league's worst teams at home. They've been a weird team at home. And again, that would keep the Warriors on 32 home wins. So I think this is one of the best reads that we have on the whole series. The possibility that Oakland drops 2 of the first 3, losing the second one in the 3rd game. So they probably will split the first 2. And the better riddle seems to be for the Rockets to get game 1 and the Warriors to come back and get game 2. Look at the players now. Things line up here as well. And then this is the game where the Rockets could get closed out, game 6. I mean, the Warriors played well in Houston. Okay. I want to see how some things line up with that game 6, because my hunch is that this series ends in game 6. March 14th, 2019. So I'm looking at Steph Curry's birthday. That was May 8th, right? Oh, no. May 10th. May 10th. 57 days. Very interesting number. NBA Finals number. So 57 days after Curry's birthday. Notice the 1 month and 26 days, too. It's kind of like that 1-2-6 Oakland thing. And then Kevin Durant's birthday, September 29th. 223 days after Kevin Durant's birthday. 2-2-3. And what's James Harden? August something. August 26th. His upcoming birthday, 88 days. Oops. Screwed that up. May 10th, 2019 to August 26, 2018. Oops. 257 days, the 55th prime. But again, the reason 6 games makes the most sense to me is because D'Antoni's record, he'd be 49-49. Warriors 49. So if that happened, Kerr's record would be 71-24. Does that go with the date? Yeah. If it went to game 7, Kerr could also get his 71st playoff win on this 20-date numerology, 71, the 20th prime. So that's another thought. this is the series that everybody wants. To a lot of people, this is the NBA Finals. So, the most standout stat for me, game one, because it's a little bit torn, is again the being 12-6. Just knowing how important 1-2-6 is to Oakland. Splitting those opening games makes a lot of sense. So, gonna keep looking at it more, just in case I'm overlooking something, but again, the Warriors in Houston are 48-69, and the first game in Houston will be on a date with 48 numerology. They could win right there, get 49, and then notice they could get the 50th win in Houston on a 50 date. So they could come back and go up 3-1 in Houston. Houston could come back and beat them in Oracle. 3-2, it could be deja vu. Close them out right here. Kind of thinking that might be the flow of it. So, unless we're wrong about the Warriors winning the series, but I'm still liking Warriors Celtics. Makes the most sense with the start date. So the bad news is these games are really tight. So there's not any super confident picks, but we did see that today. We saw the really interesting thing with today is that the Spurs can get the 947th win. Let me just put this up again, just in case you got here late. The Spurs have a really great stat today. It was right here. Or actually, you know what I think it was? I think it was all time. I think it's all time. Yeah, the Spurs can get their 947th away win today. And notice 947 is the 161st prime number. And again, Denver Nuggets, just with the alphabetic order, is 161. So that's quite amazing. One other thing I got to consider is when the Blazers won over the Thunder, they won with 118 points. Damian Lillard's full name is 118, but they also won 4-1 in San Antonio. It's 41. So all right, and just another thing somebody said to check out was the Mariners game today. They said the alignment was amazing for Seattle. We'll see how amazing it is. Seattle has been, baseball, the riddles haven't been right, but Seattle's been one of the most we've done well with Seattle this year. I'll put it that way. So we'll take a look at them to see if we can get a good pick there. Blue Jays are up on the Athletics. Again, we're talking about this game early. A lot of game left, but Toronto and Philadelphia are playing in the NBA, and the Athletics were once in Philadelphia, just like the Warriors. So that's something to keep an eye on. If the Blue Jays won, they'd be 6-8. Basketball 68. So that's another thing to think about. We thought the Raptors had a great riddle until we saw that Philadelphia could get their 43rd win against the Raptors all time today on the 43-date numerology, which made things very iffy. If the A's did lose today, they'd be 4-7. Oakland, California, 74. The reflection. Again, it's the 47th year of the Warriors in Oakland. They raised that banner for that on 4/7. Who celebrates 47 years? You know, if we didn't know about this code, we'd be like, what? 47? And the Philadelphia Warriors did win the championship in 47. Just another thing to keep in mind. It's the 73rd NBA season. Warriors 73rd year overall. Curry born on the 73rd day. Warriors with the 73 win record in the regular season. If they win the finals this year, they get the 73rd win. But Okay. Okay. So it was something about the pitchers the caller said. So let's check it out here. Let's check it out. Mike Minor's 107 like Seattle, 62 like Seattle Mariners, and I don't see the riddle in the record with that, but I just see that he has numbers like Seattle. Seattle's 107. Remember Russell Wilson with the 107 million guaranteed. Seattle Mariners 62. The season began on a date with 62 numerology. Game 7 of the World Series on the day, leaving 62 days left in the year. And it starts on Ichiro's birthday. Ichiro's also 62. The early start of the season in Japan. Ichiro with the retirement. Okay, Mike Leake. Mike Leake. Okay. Let's see. He's got 54 like baseball, 108 like Major League. But that's not going with the records. Again, the Mariners did join MLB in 77. And again, this year is just all about tributes to their team. So you can see why they're 7-7 at home. Must be. Oh, let me check the last names too. Leake's 29. He's facing the Rangers at 2-9. And the other guy's Minor. Minor 66. Isn't Texas 66? Seattle's next win is their 19th. Seattle's 19. Today's date numerology. It's a 43 date numerology. Mariners is 43. It's their 43rd season. Mike Minor stats. Let's see here. .58 and 52. And let's see, that's the right guy. Mike Minor birthday. Right guy. December 26th. Today. 122 days. Now Seattle's on the 122nd meridian. They began the season 12-2 against Kansas City. Kansas City 122. After this is when the riddle started to fall off, right around the same time. November 12th. Okay, let's see. 166 days. It's also his 167th day of his age. That's the 39th prime. And I did see that the Rangers could become 3-9. Mike Leake. 95 and 89. To his upcoming birthday is 199 days, the 46th prime. December 26th. Well, personally, I'm not crazy about this game for Seattle. It is interesting that it's 122 days after his birthday. That is the big Seattle number, but that could be just part of the reason he's pitching in Seattle. So, look at who's pitching tomorrow. They play the Rangers Sunday, and then they get a break and play Tuesday. This 43 date, though, is interesting. Let's see who's pitching tomorrow. Lance Lynn. Got the 62 thing, too. 37. Lance Lynn. 43 as well. Eric Swanson. 68. To reflect, and 86. But no, we can't do that. We can't get to that record. Oh, he's also 39. So if the Rangers won today, he would be facing the Rangers at 3-9, and we also saw that other 39 with the pitcher. So yeah, I can't advise to bet on the Mariners today. I don't think that's a safe riddle at all. But let's do a quick scan here. If the Cardinals win today or lose today, I think there's a good chance tomorrow they're 11-5 again. St. Louis is 115. It's the year of the 115th World Series, so that's something to watch. That's definitely something to watch. Toronto Blue Jays is 59 if they lost today. But if they win, there's a basketball riddle here, potentially. Basketball 68. The Indians and the Astros. Forget about it. Yankees and Giants. I think the Giants might have an 84 connection. Oh, thought they did. Guess not. They have a 75 connection. So the 7-5 thing could happen if the Yankees lost today. No. That could go either way, actually, because if the Giants lost, you could read it backwards, 7-5. I'm not going to mess with that. Kim, we're watching to see if the Red Sox can win 3 in a row and get to 8-5, because Boston's 85, Red Sox is 85. Along the way, they'd make the Rays 7-4, Tampa Bay Rays 74. So that's something to keep an eye on. David Price going against his old team at home. Remember how Philadelphia Phillies equals 106? They became 10-6 on the 106th day of the year. Watch to see if the Phillies become 10-6 at home. Another thing to keep an eye on. The Royals with a loss would do the prime number thing, 19, the 8th prime, but even that hasn't been consistent in baseball. The Rockies, Braves, riddles busted. Diamondbacks, Cubs. Pittsburgh Pirates is 105, so that's something to watch today. However, the Dodgers did just play in the 114th World Series. So that's another thing to consider. But Pittsburgh Pirates 105, Jackie Robinson Day, the 105th day of the year. We saw 2 connections to 39 with the pitchers. So I can't advise the Mariners as a good pick today. I mean, they could win. The Riddles have been off anyway, but there's just concern there for the 39. Tigers and White Sox postponed. So I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to come back and I'm going to do the review video for tomorrow's basketball games as well. And I'll also write out the notes real clearly because there's a lot of things to consider. Tomorrow's NHL game starts at noon. So we'll come back and we'll decode tomorrow's NHL games, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. Again, we're going 7 days a week through all the playoffs. But I will do the review and include tomorrow's basketball games. The playoff game that I liked the most today was the Spurs to upset. Mostly because of that. How do I get there? Mostly because of that 947 riddle. So the Stars and Blues is a tight one, as is the Blue Jackets and Bruins. But I'll put out the review video and with all the notes too, so it's very clear. And look for that upload shortly. So I'll get it out as quick as I can. All right, good luck, everybody. Until next time.